Thursday night, here we go. What a show we got for you guys, too. I'm very excited about tonight. Very excited about tonight. Two special guests on tonight that I've really wanted to have on the show for a long time. And with the news that's out right now, these guys are not scared to share their opinions. I can't wait to hear what they got to say. We're going to get into a great debate. You see, we have a fantastic group here already. We may have a few joining us into the second hour as we go. Guys, please let me know, the audio engineers out there, let me know how the audio is. Mooch is doing back-to-back shows. Shout out to Blaze 4K. We did a fantastic solid cast last night. That was a lot of fun over there. I got a chance to guest appearance over there. We had a blast with the audience over there, so I appreciate it. Shout out to Blaze. We will be over again on twitch.tv. Mooch TV, drop the O's for zeros. It's M00CHTV. We're going to be over there on Saturday morning, as we always do, 11 to 3, 11 to 4. We kind of, depending on how the matches go, playing a little bit of the new arc update and then some of the new marathon updates that have been coming out over the past week. So we're pretty excited over there. Go over and follow Mooch after the show. It's right there below that fantastic description. You can see, just copy paste that in there. And listen, I see when you join and it makes my day. I just want to let you guys know that it makes my day. So without further ado, we got a great show for you guys. Eric, the producer, I'm sure is listening somewhere. He's going to let me know how the audio is. Hopefully it's A+. But we got a fantastic panel here. I'll start with the one and only. Congratulations is due. You know, Death Singer's out there. He's not just gaming for you guys, okay? He's not just podcasting for you. A new job offer for the great Death Singer. Death Singer, congratulations to you, buddy, and the family. That's fantastic news. It's always good when we know people in the community thrive and do better out there. So, DS, how you doing tonight, buddy?
Oh, I'm doing great after that, and it's obviously Twitter's been on fire. I've made some incendiary posts, and shout out to the weirdos out there typing under my messages. I appreciate you all. It's
They're out there.
There was this one sock account that kept using the P word that ends with an O.
Oh.
And all the different posts, and I'm like, you mentally deranged loser, get out of here.
That's right.
And I shout out to the people who can actually differentiate between the online personality and the actual person. You know, the people who you can have a debate and an argument with, but then like afterwards everything's fine because it's like it's just over that. It's nothing. It's never ever personal, right? And there's tons of people on there where it's like, especially in the Discord, it's gonna people, and it's like, yeah, and then you're playing with golf with your friends afterwards. So, shout out to actual reasonable people who could differentiate between the two, and not the people who are just stuck in this. They don't like my plastic box, so I must attack them always. And it's like,
well, you know what? You just separate that, you ignore that, and you just go with the good, Death Singer. But listen, the great Mariko, you guys know him as Brian. He says, well, good, now Death Singer can afford to go grab himself a PS5 Pro. First of all, he could have always afforded to get a PS5 Pro.
Yes.
But now you should treat yourself, DS. It would be great. I'd love to see you on the friends list, buddy.
I need to see that 60 FPS on GTA.
Very fair. And we're going to talk about that tonight, DS, because I was actually, your ears must have been ringing. I gave you a lot of credit yesterday when I was on Solcast. I said the same thing. I said, Death Singer's saying it's got to be 60 frames. I know a lot of people saying the same thing. Shout out to Doc Dark as well. He said the same thing. Death Singer, great to have you here as always. Matua's here. Matua, thank you for the super chat. It's working, thank God. He says, hi, Mooch, did you purchase the 3 Starfield action figures like I did? Not quite yet, Matua, but I appreciate the ask and the super chat, buddy. Maybe with that great $5.99, maybe I will go collect one. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Now it brings us to our special guest here. The great Gaming Ledger is here with us, guys. Okay, Ledger, you guys, if you're not following him on Twitter, now known as X, you're really doing yourself a disservice. This man really keeps up with the news. He follows things. He's constantly writing me, Mooch, did you see this? And he's got breakdown analysis. And I'm very excited to welcome for his first time on Crossfire. Ledger, how you doing tonight, buddy? Thanks for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me, Mooch, and the kind words. Thank you so much. If you,
I think your mic cut out, Ledger. Of course, right when we go live, he's like, "Let me know if my microphone cuts out," and I'm like, "No, you're doing great."
Yeah, but
Ledger, you,
if I'm able to,
there you are
for a strategy.
Ledger, your microphone cut out, but it cut out that whole time after you said thanks for the kind words. We lost you.
Oh, sorry about that. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, well, thank you for having me, and I look forward to the show. If you don't follow me on X, go ahead and give me a follow. I'll post about just different business strategies that I see across the board, different consoles, PC, whatever you wanted to call it. So yeah. just excited to be here.
Great to have you here, Ledger. Shout out to Firefighter Alf. I see him out there. Lord Metroid's here. Again, Brian East, Jackknife. Great to have all you guys. Yeah, RPG88, he says, Ledger's using Nib's microphone. No, it's funny because Nib uses the DualSense as his microphone. And I got to be honest with you, it does cut out from time to time, but man, it does sound good. So, I mean, if you got a DualSense, you can plug it into your PC and use that microphone. It is absolutely fantastic. Shout out to Nib for that find. The great Lord Metroid is here. He says, wish everyone well. Ocarina of Time remake, let's go. Okay, he will not let that one go. The Lord Metroid wants his Nintendo games, and he wants them now. Appreciate you being here. Shout out to Crow as well. I see Patman Jones as everybody kind of shuffles in. But this is exciting, guys. I'm very excited to have the great Jay Main back with us. Jay was on the show. Jay, you could correct me where I'm wrong here. Jay, I think it was about a year ago. And listen, we had the greatest back and forth discussion, and it was a hot topic week. I don't remember. I didn't go back to do the homework on this. But I said, you know what? We've got prices being raised. We've got all of the switchover going on with PlayStation right now. There's the Xbox Fan Fest, Gears E-Day Showcase. There's a lot to talk about. The great Jay Main is back with us again. Jay, listen, I had my people reach out to your people. They said tonight would work, and it did. I'm happy about that. Jay, how you doing tonight?
Oh, man, I appreciate you. Definitely feels great to be back with the podcast. And yeah, man, you are definitely the most consistent guy in the business when it comes to getting people on the show. Like I appreciate that 1,000% only because I got a bad memory. So if I tell you one thing one week and then I forget about it, you won't hear from me again.
But but there I am in the DMs 1 week later.
Exactly. And it's like, oh shit, let me make sure I get it to Mooch so I can, get in there. So, it's always a great time when I pull up here. So I have no doubt in my mind this will be the same. But appreciate you having me on. And yeah, it's definitely a lot to talk about.
Yes, sir.
Especially today, it's not April Fool's no more, so we can get serious.
That's right. And you know what? One of my topics will be on that later, just for a fun discussion piece. I think because everybody that's on this panel right now has been a part of the community on X, formerly known as Twitter, and we have had, I think, our fill of the April Fool's jokes. I think we've had our fill. At least us. New people coming in are probably like, no, I need some more. And I'm like, no, I'm full. I'm good. But Jay, since we got you here, I'll put you on the hot seat first and foremost. And you saw, I sent everyone the topics. A couple of the topics do kind of intertwine and overlap because they do all kind of start here and then they kind of branch out. I'll start with you here first. So PlayStation's increasing their prices. Now, it's not just as easy as, do you like it, Jay? Of course you don't like that. Nobody likes that in the gaming business. But where were you when you heard this? Did you pick up a Pro prior to this update, like today's prices going up? And what do you think this actually transcends as far as what we're going to be seeing with the PS6 and the launch date there? So I'll start first and foremost. What do you think of the increase and why Sony chose to do this?
Yeah. So like from a business perspective, obviously I understand when it comes to the price increase because these companies basically they're not taking the loss. So when parts and things like that are increasing that they have to buy to put in these systems, they are putting that cost off into the consumer. For us, that's terrible. That sucks. That's shit. And we start to see things where game consoles are increasing over the generation when they used to decrease over the generation. Would I love a company to take the loss? Yeah, of course, because that would mean cheaper things for us.
That's right.
In this sense. But nowadays, then you might get more expensive things in other places, whether it be game prices, subscription services. They are just going to make up the loss somewhere else. I think long gone are the days of companies just taking losses regardless of how much money they have. For me personally, I did buy a PS5 Pro day one, just because I always wanted to play my games at the best graphics, fidelity, performance that I can afford.
That's right.
At that time, I believe it was it was a 650 at launch.
You could definitely have picked it up for 649. There was if people weren't lucky to hit those few weeks that it was, Jay, which you did, it was 699 for the majority of the time, I believe.
Right, and even then, like I liked the upgrade, but PSSR was not consistent. Consistent improvement across the board. So that I was vocal about that disappointment, and I was even like on the fence of recommending the system to people because I'm like, well, this is supposed to be something that improves every game that you are playing versus the PlayStation 5 version. But then you had games where the visuals took a hit because of PSSR or the performance both took a hit because of the cost of PSSR. So I'm like, some games, yeah, some games, nah. Then they do the upgrade. PSSR looks good. Performance is about the same, but at least the visuals, like, look better. It's like a stark difference with the visuals. So I'm like, okay, maybe I can recommend it. And then the price goes up, and I got to be honest, today for $900, I'm not recommending that PS5 Pro. I'm sorry, console gaming should not be that expensive, especially in the economy that we are today, where I just pay $4 something for a gallon of gas.
That's right.
That's crazy. I haven't seen those prices in years.
It's been a minute.
Since like I first started driving. So, and I had way less responsibilities. So, I do just think it's a rough time for that price point. Do
you think though, Jay, the one thing I'll say though, and I think you were kind of cooking there for a second. The only thing I wanted to say was though, Jay, is that it still is, for what the output is giving you, it's still one of the cheaper entry points for that. You can always go get a base PS5, which did also see a price increase, and keep it in that. I don't know, Ledger might be able to chime in here. I think that went up to like 600 or 550.
650, I believe.
Is it 650? Now that's for the physical disc version, right? Not the digital?
I think so, yeah.
Right. So, I mean, so Jay, I'm just playing devil's advocate. We are on the show here, right? So I got to say to you, $900, that's a crazy price. There's no doubt about it. But, to have what you're getting on a game, let's just use Crimson Desert, right? That's upscaling to a 4K. It's not native, of course not.
No.
Upscaling to 4K, and it's locking in that 60 frame. I think there's a couple of areas they said it dipped, and even when it dipped, it was in the either maybe the worst high 40s, low 50s. It kept 60. Digital Foundry even did 3 videos on this, and Crimson Desert is no slouch. That's a game you can use as a point of reference. So, I mean, 900 is still a lot. Well, you know what? I'm just saying the scale and sizability. What do you got?
I got to push back because there was some recent footage that did come out, and the Crimson Desert, while it does hit 60 FPS, let's say maybe majority of the time, maybe I'm not sure because I don't have it. I'm just based on the footage. It definitely has some struggle points where it drops down to like the 30s in that performance mode. That might not be the consistent across the board, but it does struggle when the CPU is bottlenecked, and that's just going to be what it is because it's the Zen 2 CPU. It's the same CPU that was there since 2020, which is probably even older than that. So it definitely has its struggle points. It's not a consistent 60, but it does all right. It does okay.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I know that Detzinger was in a DM with myself and Nib and a bunch of us, and we were all kind of talking. And yes, you're right. I did see that clip and that photo, but in the 30s. But don't forget, I will say this much. So I have a very powerful PC, right? And when I'm playing certain games, I have the FPS counter in the top, and sometimes on these multiplayer games, I'm hitting 200, 250, and then I'll hit a certain area of the map, and I'm down into the mid hundreds, low hundreds. That's just sometimes a very demanding part of a certain game. And we can use that as a threshold. And this is not condoning it by no means, but that is something where you say, okay, listen, if your experience for 100 hours in Crimson Desert was 80% locked or 70% locked at 60 or close to it, and you had a couple of areas where it was really intense, and that was just where the areas it dipped, I don't know. I mean, does that at 100 hours you had a few times you ran into that situation? Are you cursing yourself out for that PS5 Pro? I don't think it's the same.
At $900, I am. I'm sorry. At $900, I am.
Okay,
that's just me because when I spend like a lot of money on something, I want what I want that should be in it. Like you, I got an expensive PC as well. Like
yes.
I got in there right before prices started.
Same here. Yes, thank God.
And all of that.
Thank God.
So like when I'm looking at my PC now and I'm playing it and I got like DLSS active and some things are not like hitting certain performance metrics, I'm like, come on, I'll spend damn near $3,000 on this PC. Like, what are we doing here? Like,
yes.
I don't want to see things dipping if I'm getting into the $1,000 range. Like if we talk about the $600 console and that price and things are dipping, I understand that. But it's just the price to me that we are seeing dips. That's all it is. It's the price.
I get that.
The PS5 Pro is still $600, $650 and it's dipping down. Like I could stomach that a little bit more.
Yeah. You know, and it's funny because so this was the conversation we were having last night. I'll go over and give Ledger a little bit of airtime here. Ledger, what I was saying, and I agree with Jay. Jay's not wrong on what he's saying, especially with a $900 price tag. But if I could take everybody way back to 12 months ago, okay, when I believe it was about 12 months ago, was it maybe a little bit more when the Pro came out? Every article out there was saying $700. You got to be crazy. Who would pay for that? Those same people that were doing that in the gaming media then we're like, you know what? I decided I'm going to upgrade to the Pro, right? So now $700 isn't so bad. But a year ago, $700 was awful. Now we're saying $900. We do have to keep in mind that PCs, if we're going to be fair, we got to be fair. Because, Jay, I'm with you. I got the PC I got now last year. So I didn't pay these prices that are out there. So I'm with Jay right now. But let's not forget RAM right now, okay? GPUs are through the roof. And some of these are dipping down too. Some PCs are having a hard time with Crimson Desert. You know what I mean? Not every PC is like the ones we see in the community where everyone's got a 5090. This is a wake-up call. Not everybody has a 5090, you know? So, I mean, a lot of people don't have a 4090. So, I mean, at this point, there's PCs that are struggling with some of these games too, and they're paying irate prices. So, I think when it comes down to...
average, Mooch, what's the average? Is it a 3060?
Well, the great Death Singer will chime in on that. I think he said that the last he saw was it. I think Death Singer, you did say it was 3060. That was the new Steam output that they.
Nope. The Steam survey now.
What are they saying?
Is the 5060 Ti.
The 5060. Yeah, that's not what most people.
That's the top.
Oh, now it's gone back. It's fluctuated between the two, right? Because they're competing with each other. Because if you look, it's like. The 3060, the 4060, the 5070 is now up there.
Okay.
So people are either upgrading all over the place or it's just switching. Bear in mind, the survey is an opt-in. You don't have to do the survey. So obviously the results are changeable, but it's in the 60s. Like the 3060 is now currently, but last month it was the 5060 Ti. So I don't know what's happening. Like it's like all over the place. But the 3060's been a consistent like 4% of the Steam user base has a 3060.
Okay.
Yeah, so if I was going to look at it from a Canadian perspective, I'm just doing some research here, and it's anywhere from $589 to $629. That's quite a bit of money for a 3060. So
that is.
Like if you're complaining about the PlayStation going up in price, I think everybody should be complaining across the board.
That's the thing. We're not seeing. That's my only point. Is I just like to see the consistency across the board on that. Because don't get me wrong, $1 spent is $1 spent. You know what I mean? Yep. And I think that a lot of times we don't really hear that from the other side because a lot of the console guys aren't going to get into the depths of what PC purchasing and PC part picker and all that good stuff. They don't really get into all that, right? Because there's a reason they want to be a console gamer. They don't want to deal with it. But the other thing, I guess I'll put Sony on the hot seat here and ask Ledger, and then we'll go backwards again, and I'll see what Jay and Detzinger think here. So Sony did come out and say that they had bought parts, right? They had bought RAM and such to be able to keep their prices down for the rest of the year. So Ledger, my question for you is why, when they said they had that and they could have at least kept it at that lower price, did they decide to skyrocket right now, months and months and months before a GTA 6 release?
My guess is that they looked at the data. And keep in mind, when that question was asked, there wasn't a war happening, right? So now there's that element to it, which is pushing the price of oil itself is like it's massively disrupting the consumer market.
That's what Jay was just saying, $5 a gallon basically here in New York.
Right. And yeah, not only can you not afford more because you got to pay in gas, but also there's like plastic is a part of oil. When you're making plastic, you need some sort of oil substance for it.
Absolutely.
So like anyway, that's increasing the price pressure, but also the Japanese yen isn't doing too well against the US dollar, right? So that's always going to be an issue there. What else? So putting those economic factors aside, they're there. I think Sony's looking at the average cost per marginal cost per unit that they're going to ship out if they were to subsidize it. And I still do think that they're subsidizing the PS5, the base one, a little bit. Like I don't think like if you look at other PC parts, you're probably not going to get a deal like the base PS5. I'm not 100% sure, but that's my presumption. But yeah, if you're going to go look at in general, I think they looked at this generation and right now they have close to 100 million units out there.
Yes.
That's usually the tail end of a generation. And Mooch, I think this is all signs leads to 2027 PS6. That's where I'm thinking this is going, because maybe they're looking at 2027. The prices of RAM will come down. I don't know what's going to happen in the world in terms of all the war stuff, but maybe they're building their war chest now for 2027.
I see what you're saying there. Okay, so you know what, Deathsinger, I'll go to you with this one here. You heard what Jay had to say and Ledger, but here's what my question to you. Now there's also reports on top. I want to hear what you think about the PS5 Pro price, but I also want to hear what you think about this. And I know you're not a Nintendo guy, so I'm not asking it because of that. But now they're saying, what was it? A former Nintendo sales lead. He said Switch 2 hardware is going to have to go up soon. So if you're talking about a Switch 2, we're going to stay, grounded here. If a Switch 2 could possibly, because it's 500 now, right? 450, 500 now. If that's 550, 600 for a Switch 2 and a PS5 Pro is 900. So if you're talking 600 and 900, the Switch 2 and the Pro are two very, very different machines, right? And rightfully so, but still, $1 spent is $1 spent. $600 for a Switch 2, and you're playing what? Metroid, that new Metroid, which didn't look very, very, very. It wasn't too impressive from what I saw. The new Donkey Kong, a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. Not very impressive. So, is that $300 disparity? Is that something that you see where I'm going with? What I'm trying to say is everything is going up. I don't know if we can just point the finger at just one thing. You have RAM, you have GPUs in the PC world. You've got the Pro now that's skyrocketing. Xbox went up last year. They were charging $800 for a Series X. Okay, and now you have a situation. And the Series X was the same Series X inside that you got in 2020, by the way. And now you might have a Switch 2 that might be facing a $550 or $600 price increase.
The thing is, everything's increasing, but it's the use case, right? And it's like, if you're buying a Switch, you're buying it primarily for the exclusive games it offers, right? You're a big Zelda fan, you're a big Mario fan, you grew up on Nintendo, so that's probably what you're buying for. So the price is the price, but that's the only way you could do it outside of other methods of playing Nintendo games. I'm not going to elaborate anymore. So obviously, my preferred method, is fucking Nintendo. But it's like everything's going up, but it depends what you want. It's Digital Foundry on their Q&A. They really, really, really well. They made the point where it's like the price now, and they mentioned that obviously you have PSN. You're going to need to buy into that, and it's the 900 price now is, from my personal standpoint, is like, for what I'm getting for that money, considering I probably spent like $1,500 on the PC I have, right? So it's like, if I wanted to buy it now with GTA and with PSN, that's $1,000, right? That's $1,000 right there. Just all that combined. At $1,500 more, I've got my entire PC. That's hard for me to justify, and hard for me to justify to anyone, because I'm like, for an extra $500, you can buy yourself an entire PC. So there's that thing there. But I also agree with Jay. A lot of what Jay said.
Wow.
There you go, Jay.
No, I completely agree with what you said, because it's when you all the points, and it's hard to recommend, and it's like. Consoles have always been the entry point, the cheapest price, and you get good relative performance for the money, and it's an easy access point for everyone. The common person, the poor person, everyone could get in, because as I liken it back to the PS4, right? You could get, when Spider-Man 2018 released, you could pick it up $299 with Spider-Man. Anyone can grab that. Like that's easy. That's you don't even have to think about it. You just walk into the store and go, "That's Christmas sorted." Whatever. Whereas like now 900, and Crimson Desert is a big one, because they sent Digital Foundry the exact specs, and it's like medium high, and it's 1080p scaled up to 4K, and it can't lock the 60 FPS. it goes down to like the 30s in some of the heavy scenes, and that is a hardware issue, but that's because you can't upgrade the hardware. It doesn't matter how much.
Right.
It's the closed box. So you're always going to run into that issue the longer the gen goes on. So it's like, my problem is now, like, a lot of people, if the new consoles, if they release them in 2027, the RAM crisis is still going on. The SSD crisis is still going on. And they are not immune to this because they have to, yeah, sure, they could have a special deal with them, but the people who make the parts are like, well, this ain't yesterday's price, this is today's price.
That's right.
You're going to have to pay.
That's right.
And then that cost goes on to the consumer. And it's like when Matt Piscatella from Sakana said about the poor, lower income person is going to get priced out of gaming because they just can't afford to enter it. And console has always been the affordable enter. So that has always been one of my biggest things. Where it's like you're turning it into a luxury, like a super luxury item.
But I do want to say something. The one thing that we've done now, and I'm guilty of this too, because I've done it on the show this entire night so far, is we do have to understand something. There still is an entry point PS5 at $600, right? I mean, so you're not forced to spend $900. We're saying that's supposed to be. Remember what we always said about the pros, whether it was the PS4 Pro or this one here. This was supposed to be for the hardcore, that niche audience, right? A lot of people are running just with the $900 price tag. Go ahead, Jay.
No, I was gonna say, you feel like that $600 is like a reasonable entry point for a system? Like, I understand, like, this late in the generation, most of the people that wanted the PlayStation already have it. So at this point, you trying to like get into people that maybe been on the fence about it, or maybe are waiting for that one game, aka a GTA 6,
right,
to pick up a PlayStation 5. But at $600, that's $200 more than what that cheapest option was 5-6 years ago.
Yeah, but Jay,
kind of a high entry point.
It is. It's a high one, but still the cheapest one, right?
Yeah, cheap in the sense that something has to be the lowest.
Well, that's the thing. So like,
in the sense that
but
factor in like cost of living and all this other stuff going on $600.
Yeah, but Jay, they're running a business. If everyone else has raised all your prices, groceries, cars, clothes, going out, right? Everything is going up. You think Sony in the boardroom is saying, you know what, man? I think everyone's got it rough out there. You know what we'll do?
No,
let's take a hit.
No, yeah. No, and that's because profits is king.
Right. Well, we want games. What do we say all the time? We're constantly online. Jay, me and you are the ones. I still see Jay. You're active on Twitter, and I love it. Like, you see people being like, what it matters to me is bring me my games. Oh, we're eating this year. Oh, we're eating good this year. It's the money that's being put in that's making these games, right? And that's allowing for these games to be made. And they're all doing it. Listen, Xbox and it had a series, the Series X, $800. And that's the same console that you bought for $500. The same exact console you bought in 2020. Okay, so what I'm saying, and now there's rumors the Switch goes up. The Switch right now is $450. If it goes up, they're not going to put it up by $25. They're going to go up at least $50 or $100. So now a Switch 2 could be $550. So if you're talking about entry point into a Switch at $550 and the entry point to a PS5, again, let's go back to what you first said, Jay. You said, don't I want it to be as cheap as possible and then to subsidize? I think you'll get everybody on this podcast to sign that document with you. But that's not happening.
Yeah.
You know?
I do think we're saying the same thing in the sense that we understand why the price is high. I just think we disagree on where that price point is. Like, I don't know if we disagree. I just feel like that price point is not a stable.
You're saying it's not acceptable. You're saying it's not an acceptable.
It's not a friendly
right.
price.
I'm with you.
That's what I'm saying.
No, I'm with you, Jay.
Especially me, who doesn't own a Pro, right, or a PS5 for that.
Right. That's a good point. Yeah.
It's like coming into it. Like, I need to see what the performance values of GTA is, because if they say it's 30 FPS, I'll just wait for PC. I don't give a shit. Whatever.
Well, yeah. If it's 30 FPS, I think you're going to have a lot of angry people.
And the problem is, it's
a lot of angry people.
It's like, I have to.
They won't have a choice, Mooch.
I have to justify buying this console for like one game, right? Because I don't care about the PlayStation exclusives and whatnot. Everyone knows that, right?
Right.
And all the like JRPGs and stuff come to PC anyway, right? So the only reason I would ever go out to buy this console is for a GTA, right? So it needs to do something. And I refuse in 2026 to be gaming under 60 FPS. Like that should not be a thing. Like there is no way in hell you'll catch me gaming under 60.
Like, no. Listen, I got the same ideologies, but when it comes to certain games, I'm willing to make concessions.
No,
GTA 6 is one of those games.
Yeah,
I'm not
Jay.
missing that. I'm sorry. Listen, I'm 100% on board in the thinking that it's not going to be 60 on PS5 Pro, but I'm not.
Jay, what do you Jay, what do you think it's going to be though? Well, that's let me just ask him. Jay, what do you think you're going to get on the Pro?
I think at most you may see like a 40 FPS mode. I just think with Rockstar games, there's so much going on in those worlds, and I hate to like bring up Crimson Desert, but Crimson Desert is not it's not the same type of studio in the sense that Rockstar's been in the game for a very long time. I think they know how to optimize very well, but it's only so much optimization you can do for a world that's that busy, that dense, and that active. So when it comes to those aspects of a game, that CPU is going to take a hit.
Yeah, like Crimson Desert
CPU.
Think of Crimson Desert like a baby GTA, right? GTA is going to have twice as many systems as what Crimson Desert has. So take Crimson Desert as like a benchmark and then double it, right? So like I could see 60 FPS if they drop it down to like 720p or whatever. I mean, I could see that, like, but like, and you turn off all the ray tracing and throw everything on low. But if they come out at their announcement and go, we have a 40 hertz mode and we have a 30, I'm going to turn it off and just forget about it for a year, because it's like not for me. Like I will not compromise, because going from like 120 to 30, it's no, I can't do it anymore. Like I've lived the 30 life, and no, we're good.
Yeah.
Well, shout out to Blessed, Red. Blessed, good to see you back in the chat, Blessed. Bless has got comedy hour right now. He says GTA 6 is going to be dropping at 20 FPS on a PS5 Pro. Bless, do you understand even the love that Rockstar has, right? Do you understand if we're talking below 30 FPS on a Pro, what kind of backlash that would cost them? I mean, that doesn't matter what we're talking about. That's just poorly optimized, period. There's no way we can sit here and say Rockstar are the wizards that they are, and they're going to hit 20 FPS on a Pro. I'm sure you're just kidding, Blessed. Let's hope you are. Shout out to the great Blessed Red who's joining us with us tonight.
If it's any studio that can get a 60 FPS mode to the majority 60, I would say Rockstar is one of those people. It's just I have to believe it to see it. So
that's fair.
I'm currently off board with the 60 FPS mode.
I think
Pro.
Just the amount of stuff they put in. Like, this game is going to be bigger and better than all their previous games, right? This is their holy grail, right? So they're going to put everything in the kitchen sink in this bitch. They're going to turn on ray tracing. It's probably going to have global illumination.
Okay.
Ray trace this. Massive bustle in that city. Bear in mind, it's going to be full of people, cars, walking into buildings. All that takes CPU. Bear in mind, this is a CPU from like 10 years ago, not quite, but it is like a really fucking old CPU, and you're asking it to process all this shit. And if they throw everything in there, even with upscaling, even at 1080p, I just don't think it has the juice to push the 60, and that was always my worry. Because like, look at Red Dead Redemption 2. In matter of fact, is that still 30 on the console?
Red Dead? Yeah, they never updated it.
I was gonna say, because when it released, it was 30, right?
Yeah, I don't think that's a system issue. I just think that's a Rockstar thing. I don't know.
But then again, if you look at Red Dead 2, I mean, that's a spectacle for the eyes right there. So I can understand 30. Like, they're pushing the spectacle, and GTA will be no exception. So, I mean, this is going to be like, when they finally announce the performance, that's going to set the world on fire, and people will still buy it anyway, because a lot of people don't care about 60 or 30. They'll play at 30. Yeah. I mean, the PS4 gen, they did it for the entire gen.
Singer, if we have a situation like, shout out to Blessed again, he said he could definitely see a locked 40 on the Pro. That's not gonna rope you in, Death Singer.
Nope. I know that 40. I know that 40. Thing is, I know that 40 VR mode with 120 hertz display. It's not the same. it's not the same. I've tried it on my PC because obviously my monitor could do 240 plus FPS. So like I tried that mode because you have the options when you go in the settings, and it just doesn't feel the same to me. Like I just want the pure performance. So I hope there's a 60 mode. My dreams are dying slowly by the day because they're not, addressing it. But when they finally do, I mean, a lot of people are going to play it anyway, but I'll just wait for the PC version because it'll be like a year, and I'll be like, and also, by the way, GTA Online is always sparse in the beginning. Like, you look at GTA Online now, there's so much shit to do, so much content. But if you remember when GTA Online first launched on the 360,
yes,
there was nothing to do. There was fuck all to do.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, it was
That's
broken
right.
at first too.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
remember that.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Launch was terrible.
So like, first of all, you have to worry about, is it going to be working when it first launches? How much content is it going to have? So you probably want to wait a year to get all the bugs out and content to be in there.
See, so Detzinger, you have an unusual case because you've been very, very forthcoming and saying you're not here for the PlayStation exclusives, like things like Wolverine, Soros. Now that Sony's stepping away from PC for their single-player games, that doesn't bother you. You seem to be okay with that. So you saying no, I understand. For me personally, and I think, Jay, I'm going to speak for you, Jay, and you kindly say if you disagree. Jay's here for Wolverine, okay? Jay, right? We're there day one. Jay, Soros, Jay, I'll see you on Soros, Jay. So my point being is, right? So if this thing still happens to give me a year or more of time on GTA 6 for that price, I'm getting more than just that 40, 50 unlocked frames. I agree. That's not an excuse. I'm just saying, listen, if it's capped at 40, guess what? I'm still playing GTA 6 this November, right? I mean, that's happening.
Absolutely.
That's happening.
Absolutely.
So these are matter of fact. I got a couple of super chats here. One, the great Matua came back here. He says, Mooch, I just want to add that I respect you and accept everyone's opinion. Matua, that's great. He says, I also respect Detzinger. You got your own line there, Detzinger. So he's a big fan of yours as well. Glintzer's here. He says PS5 price hikes are because Sony knows the PS4 holdouts will finally pull out their wallets for that little game in November that'll likely sell well. Shout out to Glinter. I appreciate it. D says, come on, Jez. Jez, the gaming grindhouse. Shout out to Jez, who's here in the audience. Jez always knows he can stop by and chime in. He seems to be a huge Crimson Desert fan, by the way. Shout out to Highlander Grim. Crow's here. He says, shout out to Jay Main on Crossfire. Crow's excited. Crow, great to have you here in the audience. Great to have Jay here on the panel. Taz, he says, Sony met the fiscal year, which ends on March 31st. Taz, so Ledger, I'll go to you on that.
That makes sense.
Does that hold water?
I think so. I think it's part of it for sure. Like, look at how many people went out there and bought PS5s and PS5s Pros. So I don't know about I don't know if it's counted for. Like, I don't know how they're accounting these sales. Whether it's probably for this quarter. But sorry, it was March 31st, April 1st. Yeah, it would be accounted for this quarter. Yeah. No, and to be honest, I think that they will like drop the price as a sale in the future, right? Like closer to GTA 6, closer to Wolverine, holidays. I don't see them like not giving discounts in the future. I think it's just the everyday person that's going to come in and try to purchase. They don't want to take a hit on those because I think they're wrapping up this generation.
Okay, I see there. So shout out to. Oh, go ahead.
There was something I saw in the chat. If the two things I needed: Impatient Fire. Share to you. Thing is, I don't talk like I own a 5090 because I game at 1440p and then I turn on DL upscale to 4K.
That's right.
And then, like Crimson Desert, I put everything on cinematic preset, which is the ultimate, and then throw on ray tracing or whatever, and I'm getting 120 FPS plus. Like, thing is, it's like I know I'm not getting 5090 performance, but I am well above the average of most people, and it is an acceptable performance level for me. So, because I would never get a 90, because I don't need a 90.
Right.
Like people who want to game at 4K, like they will want the 90 and possibly the 80. But I'm 4040p. Like 4040p is perfectly fine, acceptable, because when you upscale it, the picture looks fucking good. Like I'm not complaining. Yeah. So. It's perfect for me. And then also, it's not unpopular or a contrarian take. It's just I personally like a set of games RPGs and like strategy games. And unfortunately, companies do not cater to me. Very rarely do they cater to the masses, and the masses enjoy like these cinematic action adventure games and whatnot. So because that's what the masses want, that's what they'll cater to. So I'm left to the sidelines picking up what I can get on the way. So of course I'm going to champion the stuff that I like and hopefully bring more people into more niche genres to help you expand, because there are fantastic games, but you won't give them the time of day because they either don't look AAA or they don't have the big cinematic action adventure scenes and, you know, all these.
But that's what's wrong with somebody that just wants a AAA game?
I was just about to say that.
I mean, yeah, but the thing is, there's nothing wrong with that. But I just don't go for that. I just don't aim straight for AAA. So obviously, I'm a very different consumer to the majority.
That's the style games that you love outside of the path tracing that you do talk a lot about and ray tracing. You really don't even really need the card you have.
No, I do because I want like path tracing, like Witcher 4. I'm definitely going to want to play, right? Cyberpunk, I really wanted to play. And of course, they released path tracing. So I want to have those bells and whistles. But it's only for the very select games. Like Pragmata's not going to break my GPU. Crimson Desert doesn't break my GPU. Right. Like most of the games, Fable,
I'll tell you right now, and I wouldn't use the word break your PC because that's a bit strong, that singer. But I would think, and you just said Witcher 4, that game may give you a bit of a problem.
Well, I mean, to be fair, it's Unreal Engine 5.
That's why I said that.
They did that. Like, that is the most...
That's why I say that.
The CD Projekt Red have a very good, capable engine, but they went to Unreal Engine, and I was like, why the fuck would you do that? So what,
what's really wrong with the Unreal Engine, though? Because look at Sorrows. I think that's going to be... I think Unreal Engine, if you look at something like Sorrows that's coming out, you're going to notice that when you're on fixed spec hardware, like the PlayStation, it actually works fine, right?
Yeah, Sorrows is the exception to the rule. Look at like Borderlands 4. Look at all the other games that released with Unreal Engine 5. They run like ass.
Did Borderlands did it run bad on the PS5? Borderlands? Mooch, I don't know. You played that, right?
I did. I bought that. I bought Borderlands 4 on my PC. I did not buy that one on PS5, so I don't know. I don't remember anyone who was playing on PS5. Shout out to Jez if he's still in the chat. I think Jez picked it up on PS5 Pro, but I'm not really sure. Shout out real quick to Mariko. That's Brian East. He says the complainers about PlayStation increases prices would be first on the soapbox if PlayStation is forced to close studios. They won't eat a loss. Well, that's what we were kind of saying earlier, right, Brian? That was the same thing I was saying to Jay. I'm like, I'm a consumer first, right? So, like, I don't get 5% of every console that's sold. I want the price to go down as well. The problem is right now is if that, in fact, is what's going on across the world on everything that's going up. I mean, take a trip to Home Depot for a minute, okay? I don't know if you guys, like, a 2x4 is the grocery store. Yeah. Jay, I don't know, but I had to go and replace, like, one of the... fire alarm, the things you put in your house. Like, that thing's $50. What are we doing? What are we doing? $50. I mean, it's not like it's new technology. You know what I mean? It doesn't tap you on the shoulder. Hey, you got smoke. It's like, no. Right. It's still the same beep that went off in 1986. So my point being here, real quick, is like everything seems to be going up. Now, price for performance, that's the conversation we're having right now. And that's worth the conversation in itself. So I mean,
but you hear how you said like,
go ahead, Jay.
Like the fire, the smoke alarm, smoke alarm, fire alarm, like that's like a necessity thing. You know what I'm saying? Versus a gaming system is like it's a luxury. So
that's right. Yes.
And that's what I push back with the entry cost point, because it's like at $400 at launch and then getting cheaper. Gaming systems used to be like, all right, I can afford everything that I need for the house or for what I need for my person, and then I can still go out and afford my luxury at a cheaper price than it was at launch. Now it's like, all right, I got to pay for this necessary stuff. Now I don't have no money for this luxury stuff.
That's right.
That's the same damn price, if not more.
I just think first of all, everything you say with that is true. There's necessity, and then we used to say a long time, Jay, I know you've been listening to the show and different things for many years. We've been saying for a very long time, gaming is an expensive hobby. And it's we said that 10 years ago plus. And now we say it with an exclamation mark at the end of it, right? So it hasn't gotten any better in that sense. Shout out real quick to Danelle Brown. Danelle says everything is going up. Sony had to push the price up. He says, y'all are about to pay me a lot of money to deliver your stuff to stores. My fuel is $7 a gallon. Shout out to Danelle Brown. Yo,
shipping costs. Yeah.
Danelle's not wrong. He's in that business. This man knows. He knows. So shout out to Danelle. I appreciate that. Nature Boy says, all I have to say is Death Singer's 5070 Ti is holding back my 5090. And he's got a smiley face emoji.
To be fair, I also like 3/3 of the price, 1/3 of the price of your 5090. So I mean, to be fair, also plus the people on the 30 series is holding us back, mate. I mean, let's be real. So it's kind of like we're brothers from another mother, but you're a bit older than me. So, it is what it is. But the person on the 3060 is the ginger kid next door,
Oh, there you go. That's it. He gets rough when you talk PC. Nature Boy did finish up by saying, congrats on the new job, Death Singer. He goes, hopefully you can upgrade your GPU and quit holding back me and Mooch's PCs. Shout out to Nature Boy. Yeah, he went in. He went in a little bit there. It's all right. Shout out to Nature Boy there. Babor is here. The show can finally begin. You know how Babor feels about this. He says consoles can do 60 fine. Spider-Man 2 was the first game he says always, I think he means uses ray tracing. Crimson Desert's performance is a skill issue by the devs. Death Stranding 2 has systems. He's like, they have systems too, and I didn't have a problem with my Pro there. So that's the thing. We do have to talk about that, right? And Jay, we talked about how we always give, I know you've been doing it. Shout out to Kofi, by the way, on your podcast. You guys we all say Rockstar are stars, right? These guys they're brilliant in their minds. They know what they're doing. I mean, they print money. I think they're working hand in hand. I think some of these delays were not just on the Rockstar side. I think they wanted to get that PSSR 2.0 in their hands, right? Start to work with it a little bit. Sony's the lead console, right? It's going to be a Sony marketed video game. We know that. That's for damn sure. Yeah, so basically, Sony knows there's two things here. We can go, I'm not being rough on Rockstar yet, but like it's going to make Sony look bad with the Pro if it doesn't perform. And I don't think don't tell me 4K is going to make gamers happy. Like, I don't want 4K 30. You know what I mean? Like, I would rather have the 1080p upscaled to 4K with medium settings. Now, hear me out. I say these things so PC guys understand what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is medium settings on a console. Console gamers don't know if it's medium. We don't know if it's high. We don't know if it's ultra or it's epic. We don't know, right? You're playing the game as long as it looks good. So if it's medium settings, 1080p upscaled, and they can get that thing like Crimson Desert, where maybe it's not locked at 60, but when Digital Foundry does their analysis, they say 75, 85% of the map is, we found it to be at 60. That's going to make, I think, a lot of console gamers happy. That's where I'm at.
I can see that. I can see your reason in there, too.
You see what I'm saying? They'll look bad, too. Sony will look bad here, too. But Rockstar will also have a blemish. You know what I mean? Like, this is, it's the end of the generation. It's the end of the generation.
And that's why I didn't want to use Crimson Desert too much in terms of a bar for what performance may be in a game like that.
Yes.
For PS5 Pro, like I wanted to compare in the sense that it's a lot of things going on in that world, so it's going to have to take that into an account. But this is their first like single player story driven game this big with that many things going on and stuff like that they had to do. So this is not a studio that's been out there optimizing for consoles like Rockstar is. And going back to on CD Projekt Red, going even to Unreal Engine 5, I put CD Projekt Red at I know they had that big blemish. This is a big blemish with the launch of Cyberpunk 2077.
That's right.
They did what they were supposed to do in terms of turning that game around, getting it to where it needed to be and acceptable. But I still put them in high regard, and they did switch over to Unreal Engine 5, but they did talk about working hand in hand with Epic on making sure that this game is optimized to the best of its ability for Unreal Engine 5. So I do have my gripes about Unreal Engine 5, but I do also have a little bit of a trust in CD Projekt Red to make a game that is going to run well on Unreal Engine 5.
I also think that they switched from PC first development to console first too. I think after Cyberpunk. So because,
You have to, because it's like Cyberpunk, they developed for PC, but obviously, the console, if they're putting all this extra shit in, they have to take the console into account, which is why I cannot blame Rockstar because they have to work with the hardware they're given. So if they go 4K 30, they'll be like, well, this is the box we have to work with. This is the tech we have. And there's no, like, you could push the headroom, but eventually you're going to hit the ceiling. And they're going to be like, well, this is what we can do, so we have to make a trade-off. And I think they love their visuals, so I think they'll go for visuals over performance. Think of Red Dead 2. Red Dead 2 could have had 60. It easily could have. It could have done it, but they focus purely on the visuals. So
I do appreciate you, Dessinger, using the history does tend to repeat itself. So I see where you're going with that. I really do. Let me welcome the great Jez7780 to the show. Jez, the Gaming Grindhouse is at the crossfire here. Jez, I know that you've done a lot of analysis with your pro. You play a lot of games, even some of the games that you say, you know what, I'll pick it up, I'll try it out. I know you're loving Crimson Desert. You were in the chat, like literally raving about it. But Jez, what do you think about the $900 price tag? I mean, who would have known when you bought our pros day one that we were going to save $200? Nobody would have called that one. Did we lose Jez? How do you lose them when we didn't find them? Jez, right? Jake, help me on this, will you? How do you lose them when we didn't find them? The great Jez will join us in a moment. Maybe it's a microphone issue. He's probably got like 5 microphones hooked up to his mixer. While we wait for him, shout out to Kevin Thomas. He says, will Rockstar fix their trash gameplay? What do you mean by that, Kev? Is he upset?
Yeah. I'm not on board with that.
Kev, I don't know what Jimmy Kev.
No, I'm not. No, like where's the trash gameplay? Have you played Red Dead 2? I mean,
there you are, Jez.
There he is.
Jez, welcome. There you are, buddy.
Somebody better get a co-pilot and fix my.
I'll get a hold of the new CEO, buddy. You got it.
I need to meet Asha. I gotta go to FanFest and talk about it.
Jez, please go to that. Please. I almost want to pay for your plane ticket. Jez. Jez, what do you think, buddy? I mean, listen, you heard Jay, you've heard Ledger, you heard Dessinger. What do you think when it comes down to the $900 price tag and the overall landscape, right? You got Xbox sitting at $800. You got the Switch rumored to be going up. Maybe it's $50. Maybe it's $100. You could have a Switch 2 at $550 in a few weeks or months. And now we're talking $900 for a Pro, $600 to get into gaming with a PS5. I'm actually going to check those prices. It's either $600 or $650. I do want to see what the lowest price point entry is for PlayStation.
I'm looking at it right
now.
now.
It is $600. Thank you, Jay.
Yep.
All right. Thank you. What do you think,
The
Jez?
crazy thing is that it's not even like $50. Like
I know,
even 75. Like these are like $150, $200 price increases for some of them, and even $50. The lowest one is the Portal going up to $50, which I got one right before the Target. Right, they were about to change the price tag, and I knocked over the lady. I was like, "Yo, give me that last one." She's about to put it out for the day to print out the new printout. Actually, I knocked her over. I was like, "Give me that last one there." Yeah, it is crazy. I was like, "I'm not paying $50 extra for this thing." So it is. I heard what you were saying before. Like everything's kind of shifting up. It's not like anything's going down, and PlayStation and these other Xbox are going up, and Switch is going down. Like the whole market is like the new bracket. It's like the new tax bracket. It's like everything is shifting. But I have to say, like 900, it is pretty good. It's getting crazy, getting up there in price. But you got to also look too, like PCs. When I bought, like I think it was like the 3060, a 3070, a 3060 gaming laptop, and it was like $1,300. And then last year, for the 50 series laptops, they're $3,000. $2,800, $2,500. So like, it's definitely everything is shifting. But I have to say, for the console, it is a high price, for that Pro. And the fact that we don't have, like, the early adopters are making out in this entire generation is pretty wild there. And, I saw the trade-ins. And actually, I did buy a second PS5 Pro when they did the first price increase. Like, I saw my PlayStation 5 sitting there. I saw the GameStop doing a trade-in deal. I went in there, I traded in, and I got one more Pro, because my whole justification was like, when I trade in the Pro for whatever the next console is going to be, that's going to hold its weight. I did some Moochonomics. I remember Mooch,
absolutely
that way.
Yes,
yeah, exactly. So like when you trade that in, 3 years from now, whatever like that, whenever, or 2 years, whatever the hell the next one comes out, the Pro is going to hold more trading value than a slim, a OG PlayStation 5. So you kind of grab some of that money that you're paying there. So that's why my thought was to upgrade everything. So then, I got one more OG PlayStation and I got 2 Pros. But yeah, I did it because before the 650. But yeah, $899. It's definitely going to be a tall. I feel bad for people that waited for that GTA push, because I just can't believe all this is happening before GTA, because I feel like GTA 6 would have been like what motion controllers did to the generation of the 360 and the PlayStation 3. Like, it just gave it another life. And I feel like GTA 6 was just going to take these consoles and just blow them up. When everybody's saying the console industry is dying and all this other stuff, GTA was about to give it like another injection. And to have all these consoles go up in price, and then GTA still, in the future sometime later this year, who knows if they have another price increase, like you said, with other consoles, like maybe Xbox does another one. Who knows? PlayStation, I don't know. But it is definitely, it is a tall order. But, I think for GTA 6, people may pay. They may pay it. They may just say what it is.
Jez, let me throw this out there. Shout out to DJ Marshman. He says, the great gaming Forte. We missed Forte. Forte was on BRAP yesterday, and he said in his store, he goes, we had 4 PS5 Pros in store Friday. He said by Saturday, they were gone, and people were calling all week. Now he said, wait, fix that. 8 Pros. So this is coming from the great gaming Forte. But hear me out for a second, guys. This is the next question I'll throw out there, and anyone can kind of take this volleyball and spike it. When it comes down to it, everyone on this panel right now, Ledger, Jez, Death Singer, Jay, you guys been on Twitter enough to know this. Sometimes what people tweet is not how people act, right? So my point is when we get closer and closer to GTA 6, what's really going to happen?
Last of Us 2 boycotts?
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
To all the boycotts.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Shout out to all the boycotts.
What do you guys think? I mean, at the end of the day, are people going to end up wanting to play this game? I don't know if we're going to hear from Rockstar when they're going to say it's finally coming out to PC, but if it does take over a year, that's a long time to play a game that is that popular. People might go out there and put the money down.
Some people,
for sure. I think.
Go on.
Sorry. Yeah. Grand Theft Auto is just one of those games that is generational, right? We haven't had one since what? PS3.
Was it 2012 or 2013? 2012, 2013.
PS3, Xbox 360.
By the way.
Yeah, you're gonna get people that don't even game that come back to buy a console for that.
But that's how much it is?
Yeah.
Especially people will, but a lot of people. It depends, because it's if you've been a PC gamer for a very, very long time, you have certain standards, and then you get the price. and if they come out and say 30, for the casual person, they ain't gonna give a shit. They're gonna buy that day one, pick up GTA, and they're gonna go online with their friends from school or whatever. They'll all be at school, and they'll be like, "See you at home. We'll jump on GTA and have some fun." And that's what the general people, the masses, are gonna do. And don't get it wrong, Xbox is gonna sell consoles as well, because people are gonna be like, "Oh, I'm upgrading from the Xbox One to the Series X or whatever."
Mm-hmm.
You'll have people doing that, so Xbox is gonna see a lift as well in this. But then
absolutely,
some people.
I'm gonna push back on you, Death Singer, when you're done.
That's okay. Fine. They stock them.
I can't wait for this. But yeah, it's gonna be people will rush out to buy it, but it's I personally, I have to see, but then I'm very hardcore. But the masses will go out and buy it for sure. This game is gonna probably break record sales. Probably in 1 week, the most sold game of all time or something.
Oh yeah,
more than likely.
All right. So what do you think, Ledger? What do you think? What's the pushback on that?
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. No, I think my connection just dipped out. But if you look back, a lot of the PC gamers that you see now, they've actually dipped their foot in the early 2010s, right? The reason being, PC gaming was really cheap at that point. You can get a mid to high end rig for anywhere between $650 to $800. So, given now, look at the prices now. If you want something that's at that time, those PCs were comfortably higher than a PS4, and an Xbox One. Now you're looking at what, 2K minimum, and that's in USD. So a lot of those people that moved over from console to PC, you're starting to see that, you know, a lot of the visuals are kind of catching up for the average person. And a game like GTA 6, which is transitional is not the right word, generational, they might go back and buy a console for that, just for that one game.
They might, but also bear in mind, those PCs they bought back in 2010, they probably upgraded since then. So so if they're rocking like a 5080 or whatever, or 4090 or 4080 or whatever, because they were incredibly popular, it's like they also have a certain performance expectation where it's like, I expect my performance to be this. And
what
so
is that, 60 frames? Is that 60 frames or it's a
60 frames is a minimum. Like 120, a lot of people will say is the minimum these days, because 60 FPS used to be a thing back in last gen. As
but
the
for
minimum.
single player games, 120 is overkill, isn't it?
Then again, it's like, how can you justify it? Bear in mind, they're very much individuals. So a lot of people will buy a console for GTA, and then what will happen is, when it comes to PC, they'll just leave the console and they, you know, return to their PC and play it, right? They'll double dip. They'll buy it on the console, and then when it comes to PC, they'll buy it there and then just kiss it goodnight. And that's if it is 60 FPS, that's what I'm personally gonna do.
Well, so that's thing. Let me ask you a question. Now seeing Crimson Desert and how it runs on the PS5 Pro, you're more confident in GTA?
No, that
frames?
destroyed it. No, that destroyed it. When I saw the Digital Foundry, when I saw the specs,
it destroyed it. You played performance mode on the Pro with Crimson Desert?
I don't have a Pro. I don't have.
Well, let me tell you. I think that seeing how open that world is and how it runs on the Pro in performance mode with PSSR 2, I think GTA 6 60 frames is definitely on the table.
Thing is, it's like that is a dialed down version, because even Red Dead 2 had more.
It doesn't matter dialed down. You want 60 frames?
Desert.
They'll give you 60 frames.
I'm telling you, right? They're gonna focus the visuals, and my hope is, I know Rockstar have a track record, and their track record is consistent. If anything, they are consistent, right? And when they, like, Red Dead 2 was consistent, GTA was consistent. Look how long it took GTA 5 to get a 60 FPS mode. It took fucking ages. So, like, and Red Dead still doesn't have one. I don't know why they refuse to do it, but whatever, that's another conversation. But it's like, I expect it to be 30. I expect them to probably do a 40 mode.
Because if it's 60, you're buying it, right?
If it's 60, and then I'll opt in.
Humana.
Yeah, I don't know.
To be honest, if that thing dropped to like,
he's gonna be
not buying it.
Right,
it's
right.
Running.
Exactly.
We know how this is gonna go.
Exactly, Jay. I know what he's gonna. I know he's gonna do it on the show. He's gonna say on the show.
No,
you're not buying it. I know. You're waiting for the PC.
Jay is not wrong, but that's a personal expectation of my end. I want 60 FPS. 30 FPS to me in 2026, you will never sell me on 30 FPS. I don't give a shit what game it is. You will never sell me on going back to 30. So I have a bare minimum requirement. You have to meet my requirement. It's not my job. It's your job as the person making the product.
Now you got to pay $900 for a Pro, though. You waited.
Yeah, $900 for a Pro is perfectly. I'm fine with that. I spent like $600 on my 5070 Ti, right? And that's just the GPU.
You could have got it yesterday at $750.
So it doesn't. Money's pocket watching is not on. You know, no one's watching.
Okay, all right.
I don't know, man. You just set yourself up to pay more money for something you're going to trade in and go back to PC.
Yeah, but the thing is, I'm not going to preemptively buy it, and then it turns out GTA is 30. Then I'll just sell it day one back to the shop. So I need to wait to see if it meets my requirements. But that's a me issue. That's not anyone else issue. That's just
I was just giving you some buying advice.
Hey, I mean, the buying advice is great, but the only reason I'd own one is for GTA. So I need GTA to be
nothing else. You don't like Soros or Wolverine or anything like that.
Nope.
No, he doesn't want. No, that's why. That's what I was saying. He said no.
Listen, put Wolverine in a thong.
He said, "Listen." That's why I said to Jay. That's why I said to Jay. I was like, Jay, we don't mind. We're there for Wolverine. We're there for Soros. So like, if this is even going to be flirting with 50 frames, we're good. That's not going to get apparently Deathsinger into the seat. So that's the problem there.
It's Sony and Rockstar's job to make me care.
Okay, so I got a couple more super chats, and then I want to kind of parlay this. This is what I was saying. This one topic does kind of branch out, and it's interesting because I want to get your guys' take. Shout out to Glinser, by the way, just real quick. He does ask some great questions. He says PS5 Starfield next week, sales predictions. Guys, is anyone on the panel planning to pick up Starfield on PS5?
They ruined my birthday.
They ruined your birthday?
What happened?
Is your birthday next week?
What happened?
Yeah, right on my birthday it comes out. I'm like, yo.
So
Starfield
my
birthday cake. Starfield comes out.
Yeah.
I don't see my birthday next to Starfield. Jesus.
I'm not picking that up on PlayStation. There's so many games out right now. What do you, Ledger Jay? Are you planning to pick it up? I know Deathsinger's not.
I'm not. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you good. You go.
Yeah, I'll be quick. I'm not going to pick it up because I already played it on my PC when it came out.
Okay.
And I wasn't interested in the game. Played it. I was told, wait, put in like 15 hours into it, and it just wasn't for me.
Yeah, I'm me and you have the exact same story. I have a little over 20 hours in it. I also bought it on PC, not because of any other reason, but the fact that when the game launched on Xbox, it was 30 frames, right? And it was 60 frames on PC. Now, this is going to be interesting because that's why I do feel the same way that Deathsinger feels. I don't think you're going to, if it's only a 30 frame mode on what is it there? Pardon me now. Now I'm not even GTA 6. That's a problem. Yeah. It is a problem. And I really do think it makes Sony and Rockstar not look great. They're working together on this, right? It's going to be the lead platform. PSSR 2.0. There's no way anyone can say that Sony's not talking daily with Rockstar. They have to have people over there.
Yeah.
They're
probably like treating this like a first party game.
Well, Jay, that's exactly it. People are saying that as far as the public's concerned, I know a lot of Xbox guys probably don't want to hear it, and I understand that they don't want to hear it. But like, I would say the majority of people are considering this like a PlayStation exclusive. I think, and the way they're going to advertise it, I don't know. I could be wrong.
The thing is, it's like, I understand that it's going to look bad on them, but that's kind of their fault because that's the cards you dealt with, right? That's the hardware you're given. So you have to make the most of what you got. So if it is only 30 FPS, they'll be like, well, I mean, we're dealing with technology that's old when it released anyway. And now you're asking me to do all this. Like, we'll probably put a 40 FPS, 120 hertz mode in there. You'll probably get that. And that'll be the trade-off. But I think they're just going to go, well, this is going to be what it's going to be. They'll have to make the trade-off. And so whatever they decide it's going to be, people will buy it anyway. People don't give a shit if it's 30 FPS. That's like if you enjoy performance issue. Most people will be like, what, it's coming out now? Okay, cool.
Well, just like a majority of the games that are coming out do have like a higher frame rate mode, a performance mode.
Right.
Like I can't imagine GTA's coming out going, here's 30, suck it, we're out of here.
But then again, none of those games are going to be doing what GTA is CPU intensive as GTA. Right?
The Crimson Desert is pretty impressive.
Yeah, but GTA is going to be worse, more complex than Crimson Desert, right? So you take Crimson Desert as a baseline. GTA is going to be doing way more than Crimson Desert, like in terms of visuals.
And it's also they took a long time on. I just can't see Rockstar just coming out and say, "Here's one mode, enjoy," and that's it. Like for the console only game.
And they haven't made. I mean, the last time they put a GTA out was like we said, 2012, 2013.
Yeah,
come on.
The only reason why
every freaking game pretty much has a performance mode, unless it's on the Series S. Every other game has a pretty much a performance mode.
13.
But Rockstar, they will do that because they will want to sell that game again to you. And
that's right, Jay.
Then there's gonna be some.
I bought GTA 5.
Do that.
I bought GTA 5 4 or 5 times, not full price.
Right.
Not full price.
I bought it 4 times because shout out to Shark Cards. I mean, hey, man.
They got with the Shark Cards. You have like a headquarters flying helicopters from the roof.
Oh yeah, I mean, to be fair, like people broke GTA Online because like it was Christmas and people broke it and they did the money glitch and they were dressed up as Santa and they were in the middle of the city and they were just giving everyone for Christmas like 200 million and we bought everything in the game, all the houses, all the cars, and then we're like, great, there's nothing else to do, turn it off. It's like boring as shit. So hopefully they actually solve the GTA Online issue. and they actually have a lot of content. Because if it's bare bones like the original, then you're probably better off waiting a year anyway for them to get some fucking content. And bear in mind, we don't even know if it's going to be buggy. Because if it's buggy, that's going to ruin a lot of people's days.
Yeah, they usually polish though. But man, if it's that powerful and it's that impressive on the Series S, it's probably going to look like GTA 3.
Oh, right. On the Series S. Oh, yeah.
Right?
I guarantee you. I guarantee you.
They can have strippers with triangle breasts.
I can actually guarantee it. Like, it's probably going to be like 720p on the Series S, right? Because it's like, it's going to be so taxing, and the Series S is so weak. It's probably going to be like 720p, and then everywhere else it'll be like 4040p, maybe 4040p on the Pro, 1080p on like the base consoles, and then you probably, if they get a 60, I will give a standing ovation because they are wizards. I just don't think
there's anybody that can do it. I think it's them, but
yeah,
right.
I'm Aaron. I'm on the other. I'm on the side with Death Singer. I'm sorry. I'd rather be surprised than disappointed in this situation.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I heard you got like two S's and plug them into each other. Get the game to run.
Keep in mind, this is the first GTA that's going to be developed for SSDs, and so their worlds are going to be amazing.
Right.
I would love to go back and see, like, we got to do, like, when GTA 5 released, like, what was the most popular song? What was the fast? Like, what was the
price of gas?
Yeah, right?
Price of gas. How much and the egg?
To be fair, it's like, I just, the amount of stuff that, bear in mind, GTAs are always CPU intensive, right? Because when you look at a game, like NPCs, crowded cities, all that is CPU bound, right? No,
not necessarily. Not necessarily. So the SSD feeds the GPU fairly quickly with these, like the ones that in the PS4 that Cerny put together. It's a bit of an engineering miracle, right?
Yeah, but
so
even then,
give it props.
But even then, it's like you look at how crowded cities, like the battle scene in Crimson Desert, exposes the CPU, right? On Big Hill, when it drops to like 30, it's like, yeah, now the CPU is struggling. Bear in mind, if they're building an entire city, like they're going back there and they're going to fill it with NPCs and cars, there's going to be as many people on the screen as there is in that battle scene. So imagine what the CPU is going to do when it has to meet that.
That's like, so
it's since it's on a console first, they're optimizing for just the two pieces of hardware, the two SKUs, right? Xbox,
exactly.
But it's all
three.
So shout out to Wapzilla real quick in the chat. I said this last night on Solidcast. I'll say it again here tonight, and I'll repeat what Wap's saying right here. He says, so a Series S can run it at 30 FPS, but a PS5 Pro can't improve it at all. You know what I mean? Like, I'm at a point right now where we're talking about a $900...
That's single logic.
Right? It's $900...
Actually, but then bear in mind, I did say 720p and all the settings will be on low and there'll be no ray tracing.
I think 520p.
Yeah,
right.
Also, you have to bear in mind, when I said 30 FPS, it'll be 30 FPS, but you'll actually have ray tracing. You'll actually have ray trace global illumination. You'll have probably ray trace reflections. You'll probably have all the bells and whistles. All of that shit will be non-existent on the Series S. So it'll be 30 FPS, just like the rest, but it is like playing on a PS2 version of GTA 5, right? Whereas everyone else is playing the latest, greatest GTA 6. So when I say 30 FPS, you have to also respect everything else that's going on in the background. So it's not a slight. I'm just saying they're going to prioritize the visuals because they've already confirmed ray tracing global illuminations in there. That's taxing.
Oh man!
Then they'll probably want to ray trace.
It's going to look like GTA 2.
So like they're going to ray trace the shit out of this game. So
real quick, I got a couple super chats here, and then there's a lot to kind of dive into here. Shout out to Nature Boy, he's back. He says, now I'm wondering if anybody else, Jay, I'm going to you because I know you got a powerful PC, and same thing with Jez, you got a gaming PC as well. I'm curious to what you guys think about this.
Three of them.
Nature Boy says, I just bought Death Stranding 2 for PC. Didn't notice much of a difference between my PS5 Pro and a 5090 besides the frame rate. Playing at 120 FPS versus 60 FPS didn't matter for the game. Refunded. He refunded it. So, I mean, so what do you anyone here? I did buy Death Stranding 2 on PS5. I did not buy it again when it came out on PC. Did anybody buy it on PC to do a comparison, Jez?
I typically don't double dip.
No.
I've never been that person.
No.
No,
I play the games when they first come out if I'm interested in them. And
you know what, Jay? Jay, I'll tell you right now on the air because I have no problem saying it, right? Because we all know the double dip method does work, right? So hear me out real quick. I'll tell you this: I will double dip on GTA 6 though.
Especially if we're having performance limitations. I'm definitely double dipping on that.
Yes,
sure.
yes. So that's a true statement. So Glinter,
I did see that comparison though that he was talking about with Death Stranding 2 on PC, PS5 Pro, and then the 5090. You definitely get some more image clarity, of course, with the 5090, and then some of the textures definitely look better. But to be honest, for me overall, I don't think the differences between the PS5 versions and the PC versions of games are too drastic across the board. I do think Returnal had some ray trace options that you got, and I think even Death Stranding does. But even then, they're very minimal in terms of the differences that you see. So I don't know if that's just amount of effort that they're willing to put into the PC versions of the PC ports, or just the PS5 versions are maxing out what that what those games can do, and then they bring them over to PC and it's just that. But I just don't do the double dip, and that's all.
No, I don't blame
I would
you
do
there.
double dip if the save comes over. I don't want to start it again.
Cross save.
That's the thing.
I'm right there with you. Speaking of that, can we just have a moment, Jez, to say why Helldivers does not have cross progression?
I know. I would have bought it. I would have bought it. Yes,
it should have that.
Yep.
Should,
so
sure.
I did not buy it on PC because I'm not going back up to the level I'm at on Helldivers 2 again. That's not happening.
Yeah.
Shout out to Babor. He says Rockstar floaty laggy gameplay is trash. So he was kind of backing up what Kevin was saying. Kevin's back. He says I need Rockstar games to feel like The Last of Us 2 or Metal Gear Solid 5.
No, don't do that. No.
Rockstar goes for more
they got that emotion engine, right?
They go for more a realistic approach to their controls.
Yeah.
Isn't that what it is? That physics engine?
Is that the PS2? Is that
No,
the PS2 engine?
No, I thought they used the Rage
What is
engine.
the engine that they use? That physics engine that Rockstar uses? Is it? I thought it was Emotion.
I don't know the name of that
engine,
one.
Right, yours PS2. It's something else. Let me see.
It's the Rage engine. Rage engine for Rockstar games.
Is it Rage?
Okay.
Yes.
GTA.
I'm gonna take your word for it,
Because
Jay. I don't know.
I remember what is it? The Jedi used it. The Jedi the physics game where you had Jedi Force Unleashed, Force Awakens.
Oh,
They use,
okay.
the same.
Yeah, Rage
It's so
engine.
in E. And let me see. I'll find out what it is.
Yeah, take a look and let me know.
Euphoria engine. There
Euphoria.
it is.
Okay.
All right. I've heard of it, but I did not know that. Did not know that. Shout out to Babor. He's back. He says Spider-Man 2 didn't sell well.
Right?
He says Spider-Man 2 did not sell well on PC because PCs couldn't handle the way PS5 moves data around. Death Singer talks as if even 5% of PC gamers play on pro level. Babor is a big PlayStation fan. You have to understand Babor is...
I have to unpack that. I have to unpack that real quick.
There he comes.
Spider-Man 2 didn't sell well on PC because people just didn't care about a game that came out in 2018. Let's keep it 100. These people, either way, people just don't care about that. They want to play games like Slay the Spire and whatnot. Look at the games that pop off on PC. It's a very different
for those games.
Yeah,
right?
but it's a very different.
What are we doing here?
But then most people build a PC for what they want to game on, right? So if you're not going to be playing shit like Spider-Man and God of War, you don't need a super powerful PC because you're not playing those games anyway. So it's just overkill. So at the end of the day, it's if you just want to play your MOBAs and your CSGO and shit, you could get by with a 1080 Ti probably. You could go all the way back there. So it's each individual, but they didn't sell well just because people didn't care. That's all it is. Look at the sales on PC. They didn't do anything. Why? Because the majority of Steam either already own a PlayStation and played it, or they just didn't care. Yeah,
I do think most people that want to play these games play them on the PlayStation, and then when they come out later, you get the people that double dip, or some people that would never get a PlayStation. But I think that base is small. So
yeah,
so
I think Sony found out.
So I don't know if this. I don't know if Brian East was being sarcastic or funny. I don't know who this person is that he mentioned. He says Annalista The bits comparison.
The performance channel on YouTube.
Okay,
he's the one that does the comparisons with the music with no commentary.
Oh, okay, all right.
The way Digital Foundry used to do it.
The way they used to do it. Okay.
Foundry has to,
comparison. He says the comparison of Death Stranding 2 on PS5 Pro versus high-end PC proved that visual fidelity difference was negligible. So he's saying very little. So that's the same thing. Jay, you said that.
Yeah, I think I jumped the gun when I made the comment on that. But yeah, I did see that comparison. Yes.
I mean, when you crank up the ray tracing, though, I mean, Death Stranding 2 looked beautiful anyway, but on PC,
yeah, what's the frames though? You crank up the ray tracing.
I haven't seen.
Oh, it takes a hit.
Oh, sure it does.
Yeah, it does take a hit.
It's a heavy ray tracing in terms of performance with like minimal visual. I think that's just something that they recently added to the Decima engine, because I don't think any other game in the Decima engine had ray tracing. So I think that was one of the first games that maybe they're just experimenting with, and they just put it out there to see.
Also, it was Nexus that did the port as well, so they're probably like. Getting by, because Nexus is pretty good.
I want to ask you guys a question, but first let me just say real quick shout out and thank you to the OA 1988. He says, I'm taking some days off traveling with the family, so I'm not watching live today, but wanted to drop in and say you guys are amazing. OA, right back at you, buddy. Thank you for even stopping by, and I hope you catch a show later while you're enjoying a drink on the road. Not while you're driving, of course. Right? I meant while you're traveling. While you're traveling. So let me ask you guys this, and we don't have to leave this conversation, but I'm gonna do that branch out real quick. Let's talk about this, because Capone, he got me going on it. Rockstar will release at 30 frames and sell 60 frames in a remaster. Let's not use the word remaster. Let's just say this real quick. PS6. A lot of people are now talking PlayStation 6. And Ledger, you were talking about this before the show went live. You have a strong feeling now that the PS6 is, in fact, probably going to launch end of 2027 due to these prices. Yeah. So my question for you is, will the PS6 be subsidized? And if the answer is yes, what is the price you believe Sony will have it at? Because they're going to be starting back at zero, and they want to get over that 100 million mark. That's always been the point to hit.
Yeah, I think it will be. It will be subsidized, to answer your question. I think the 100 million units or so, and maybe they'll get to 105, 110. I don't know how much GTA 6 will sell.
I think this generation, with the next year with GTA and a lock for console, I think this thing could very easily hit 120. It's at about 100 now. It's crazy to think that going through this holiday. Say again.
With the price hikes, you think it's going to go past the PS4?
Well, again, I would like to return everybody. We have to ground the conversation. Everyone's we have just been talking about $900. There still is a $600 system out there, $650. So sure. Will there be a lot of PlayStation 5 sold at the holidays this year with possibly a bundle? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, so the reason why I think PS6 will be subsidized is because they have X amount of units by the end of 2026, or mid 2027 for the PS5. Right? If it's 120, let's just go with that number. That's going to help them with their subscription services and the game software that they're selling for that gen. The early adopters will jump in. They'll probably pay whatever it is, the price is. But I think you need to get some of those PS4 people over, right? I think there's like 40 million. I don't remember the exact amount of people that are playing on the PS4. You got to bring them over. They have multiple SKUs they want to sell, right? If the handheld is actually a real thing, which it seems like it is. It's a new generation. They always subsidize in the generation. Now, the degree of subsidy, I think, is the question. Well, if RAM prices come down and some of this economic downturn in the world starts to decrease, or it starts to wane a little bit, I think the PS5 Pro's $900-ish now. Mm-hmm. The PS6 is going to be a vastly superior APU.
But the Pro's not subsidized.
No, it's not subsidized. So I'm just trying to calculate it here in my mind. I think around, without the disc, let's say around 650 to 700.
Mm-hmm. So Kepler, who did a breakdown, I believe it was him. He's an insider, and he does right. Jay, you know this. Jay, I'll ask you.
Absolutely.
He said he did his rough numbers with what they know is going to be in the box to be roughly costing Sony about $786 or $782. He believes that they could very easily subsidize this thing for $699.
Yeah, I can see that. I just think like if that is going to be the console that they are selling, like at least the base model or whatever, or one of the base models that they're selling to the people, and whether it's holiday 2027 or wherever they plan to release it, I just don't think they come out the gate with $1,000 product.
No,
right, that's right.
From the simple fact,
that's not their business model.
That's what I'm saying. Like
No.
PlayStation, I mean, Sony relies on selling consoles, getting people within the door, purchasing the software, purchasing the subscriptions. I understand that cross generation is going to still be a thing, whether it be for the first few years, if not longer, depending on how this whole economy shapes out. You still aren't going to want to have a system out there that is dedicated towards the masses at like $1,000. Like that just doesn't make sense to me.
Right.
It doesn't. It's not going to do well. Now even $699, $700. You know what I said about the PS5. To me, even that's still pretty high. But it's for those early adopters. I think we will accept that and pay that. And those are usually what you get, like the hardcore people that'll just people bought the freaking PS3 for $600 back in 2006 or 2007, excuse me. So you know, I think you'll get that to sell, but I do think they will subsidize it to answer the question. Just to get the price down to something that is a little bit more digestible for people to at least get in the door and want to purchase things. And,
see now, Jay, I'm in the car with you on that, Jay. I'm riding all the way with you. My thing is this, and this is where I would get pissed off. And I've said I can understand certain things. I can see things going up in price and where things are going. If you're telling me, and I don't think anybody on the panel is going to disagree with me. Even Detzinger is going to agree with this. The PS6 is going right. The PS6 is going to be a much more capable machine than the PS5 Pro. I think I think everyone's walking that line.
Well, yeah, that's granted.
Okay. So thank you. Now hear me out. So now people are going out right now in 2026 paying $900, and then next year there's a possibility. It's not a fact. It's a possibility that a much more powerful PlayStation that plays the exact same games is going to be back to $700. Now, don't get me wrong. I will say this much. Everyone forgets about Moochonomics. Please take advantage of this. I'm telling you right now. Jez mentioned it when he came on the show. Okay. You can right now, I think they're giving upwards of almost $400 or $350, $400 right now for your trade-in of your PS5 with a physical disc. Right now, so if there is a 9, you're paying half price for a Pro. When you have a Pro and you want to trade it in for a PS6, you're probably going to get a nice return. So you're not going to be paying this, But I would be pissed off, guys. I don't know about you. Now that's a whole nother argument, right? You paid $900, right?
Hey, Mooch, I have a caveat for that.
What do you got?
Thing is, I think cross-gen went on longer than it should have. This
Absolutely.
generation.
Thank you.
Next generation, it's going to be even longer. People are going
You
to
think so? Wait, I'm going to push back on that because this is a new,
of the price.
regime.
Because of the price, I think they will.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Like there will be some, but I think with this new management and how traditional they are, or it seems they are, like they're going back on their whole multi-platform. The exclusives are back and everything. I can see them already telling Sony, Ben, you make a game just for PS6 because we got to sell that sucker, right? So like I can see
whole
that
generation. Okay.
The thing is,
right.
the thing is, though, it's like even like for this year, there's still like 40% of all PSN users are still on PlayStation 4, right? Now,
but they're gonna come over, right? That's the plan.
they're gonna come, but they're gonna come over to PS5 for GTA, and then they're gonna sit on that and eventually go. So those people are going to sit on the 5 when the 6 comes out, and they're going to sit there, and I think they'll sit there longer because the price is more. Because those people were perfectly happy playing on the PS4, even when the 5 and the Pro is out, because Call of Duty released on it, Fortnite's still playable on it, MLB, NBA, 2K, all these games are still perfectly playable on it. And these people, they're the only games they care about. So if they upgrade to the PS5 for GTA 6, they still get their CODs, they still get their 2Ks, they still get their games they love. So why are they going to move over? They're just going to sit there again. So they're going to be in the same situation. And I think that's just going to continue over into PS6. So the hardcore, us, and everyone, you know, who did day one adopters, they'll go out day one because that's what people do. But like the masses who only care about like COD and shit, they're going to sit on their PS5s. Because if you're asking 700 for the PS6, they'll probably be like, I'll sit there and wait for a price drop.
Well, what I think they might do is leading up. Like, I think what they might do is leading up to whatever the PlayStation 6 is, you'll start seeing the PS5s, the Pros and stuff drop in price to kind of line up with, you know, that would be a transition console. If you're not going to get a 6, you get an old 5, a 5 Pro. Like maybe they drop the Pro back down to 700 or something like that, and then they price the 6 at 800, or the Pro goes back down to 650.
Yep.
Or they drop it really low. It depends the way things are. Like, I just don't see the thing that other gets me too is that they released the PS5 during the pandemic, which probably they should have waited. And with both consoles, they probably should have waited. There was stores weren't open, and they just went ahead and released it. So my thing is depending on if they're really stead on like 2027, it may come out at 9. They may just say this is 900 for the 6. Yeah. Then we're gonna drop the PS5 to 800, and then the 899 is the 6. That could be what they do. Is that the 899? Once they get that sticker shock out of the way of 899. You see a PS6 for $899. Now you're not shocked anymore. You're like, whoa, I was going to get a Pro, a 5 for $899. Now I'm going to get a PlayStation 6 for $899. So, like, they got over that sticker shock. And I think that's kind of where they're going to settle around there. I can't see them pushing 1,000.
Jazz, the thing is I'll be really honest with you. And don't get me wrong, there are mind games when you're talking about doing something like 900 versus 1,000. That people would think that is substantially low. But $899. Okay, to get people's butts in the seats. What's happening right now with this $900 price tag and these $650 price tags for these games, and same thing goes for the console, Xbox as well, is when you have a situation like this right now, you have a generational game coming out right now, right, in GTA 6. I'm one of the biggest fans of The Last of Us that you know, like, right? So let's say Last of Us 3 is even a launch title for PS6, right? You've got me. But you're not going to go. There's nothing like a GTA 6 that's even exclusive that's going to get people, because that's what Jay Main was saying. Jay said it. Like, I think 900 and 1,000, I think we're splitting hairs. That's the same thing. Like, at this point, are you going to get 100 million people? They barely got over the 100 million mark right now without GTA 6. At this thing launching at 500. I don't think you can have a PS6 at $899. I got to be honest with you, $799 is going to be very dangerous. The magic number, I think, is $699. And let's be honest, there's people listening in the audience right now that are like shaking their head like, Mooch, are you trying to tell me $700 is an entry point? But that's where we are.
PS5s though. That my thing is,
right,
what do you do with the PS5s? Do you drop them all $200? Like, because they got to all go down in order for the PS6 to be at 700, 600, the Pro and the PS5 have to go like down back to 400, 500.
Yeah, and that's not traditionally able to even be done in a year, right?
Can they do it? Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
Can they raise it all now and say, hey, that was just bad time?
So
next year we're all going down $200 again.
This is what me and Jay were going back and forth with. I mean, right now there are people in the business right now that this is forecasting. This is not fact. It's forecasting. They're saying that this RAM shortage thing is going to end at the end of 26 into 27. So can they drop those prices down? Maybe they can. Maybe people are paying these inflated prices because of the situation we're in at this very moment. Let's go back. Let's go, Jay, we were talking about this at the beginning of the show, right? We were talking about the pandemic. There were people dropping. People were dropping $800, $900, $1,100 to get a PS5 when it was the scalpers had it, right?
$900 for it.
Right. Oh yeah, Ledger, you were saying it too. Ledger, that's right. So my point being is, no, there's proof in the pudding right there. So what I'm saying is, when times are rough, people, if they want it, they will still buy it. They will still buy it. So what I'm saying to you is, there's a chance that next year that if the RAM prices and things drop again, then you have a situation where, Jez, what you said, how in the world could they drop the price? That's how they would drop the price. They have an insight to know that that's going to drop. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah. I was going to say, I got a question in terms of like when people bring up the fact that like the PS5 Pro is like $900 now versus what the PS6 can be if it does release at the end of next year at say a $699, and how that would look if that is the case going into the next generation, if prices stay the same. Like for me, I'm looking at it like with the PS5 Pro, the business of PlayStation or Sony is making it that price because they aren't buying these I would say parts. I'm speaking in like layman's terms, but they ain't buying these parts as in such a bulk that they may get a good deal on them. So that's the reason maybe that they have to put these consoles at that high of a price, because they have to pay that premium price for these parts, versus a PS6 where they're probably buying millions of parts and maybe getting a better deal on that so that they can knock it down to like a $699. So I don't know if you guys feel the same.
Dude, this is the thing. I just want to reiterate the whole like it will be pretty crazy if they have, because if you say the PS6 will be 700 and stuff, they got to really shift all the PS5s down in order to do that, because you can't have those more expensive than the PS6. So if you're going to subsidize your PS6, then you got to take the PS5 family and shift it all the way down, which would be like a lot of money, because they're increasing it by a lot of money. Now, if it's true about this pandemic, not the pandemic, but the war and stuff going on, that it really is just inflation for this time, if it's going to be a year turnaround time, that is a huge drop. We're all going back to this price. I could see it happening, but I could see them going, hey, we have $899 out there. We make the PS6 $899 and then just make everything go down 100 or 2, and now $899 is the PS6. I think could do that.
I think when people think about the PlayStation 6, because of the specs, they associate it with the Pro, right? But from a business standpoint, the PlayStation Pro is a niche device. It's not going to sell 100 million or like 80 million units like a PS5 would.
So it'll be a transition, though, like a transitional console. You don't want a 6, you get a PS5 Pro.
Right, and then on top of that, it's a beta test for PSSR, right? Like that's
exactly. Right, because the PS5, you're right. The PS5 doesn't have it. The PS5 Pro will help them evolve. You're right, like a beta test for it. Yeah.
So they're going to mass market the PS6 versus the Pro. The Pro is a niche device for hardcores. That's why it's $900. I think you're looking closer, because when these companies are looking at their future forecasting, they're looking how many they're going to sell within 3 to 5 years. If they think it's going to be 70, 80 million, that's what they're going to price it to. I'm pretty sure they thought that the Pro isn't going to hit more than 30, right? 15 to 30. Right.
Well, it will be the more mass adoption one once they start phasing out the PS5 bases, and the Pro is sort of the transition console. That now becomes your entry point. So you would want to saturate the Pro and move if you don't want to pay the PS6 price.
And also bear in mind that obviously if the price of RAM doesn't go down, because bear in mind it's like these RAM companies right now are making like 20 times what they make off consoles to these AI companies, right? It's like 3 RAM companies, the only 3 in the world, and they control like 95% of the RAM in the world. Just 3 companies control 95%, no big deal. Nothing shady going on over there. They projected at the end of this year to make 570 billion just off selling RAM to AI. And if AI keeps up into the next year, that RAM price will be higher for Xbox, for Microsoft and Sony, Samsung, all the companies in the world who use RAM, everything. Like most TVs use RAM. So all these companies are going to get slammed with the new price, and they'll be like, well, we're making all our money on AI right now, so you're going to pay these prices, and you only got a choice of 3, and all 3 are in cahoots, so you're going to pay it whichever way you look at it. So they will put up the price, and that's where I could see a 700, maybe even an 800 console as the baseline. And then that is also comes back to when Matt Piscatella said, you're getting to the point where you're going to start pricing out the poor people. I mean, there's no better way to say it. The lower income people, because lower income people will no longer be able to afford that console on the day one. So they'll just stay on their PS5 and wait for the price to come down. Because the AI bubble will burst eventually, I think. I don't know.
And you also got to remember, history is repeating itself. Literally in 2020, when the PS5 came out, it was COVID. RAM prices were spiking I don't know if everybody recalls that. And you had Jim Ryan running around in FedEx machines, right? Like he's Tom Hanks, trying to get these things delivered to people. Remember? And they subsidized it. They subsidized the PS5. The reason how they could subsidize the PS5 is because the PS4 was subsidizing it with the subscriptions. So every generation's the previous generation subsidizes the new generation for a little time. So like
that's why I got my first trade-in.
Exactly.
So Eric, the producer, is listening. He just wrote me, and he says, listen, he goes, you can say it out loud and call me out if I'm wrong on this. His take, this is an interesting take. I've heard a lot of things. I've not heard this one. I'm not saying I agree with it, but I do think it's he says the PS5 Pro will be discontinued mid-2027 or earlier. PlayStation Handheld, $499, PS6 Digital, $599, PlayStation 6 with the disc, $699. He goes, you can read it if you want. He goes, I'll eat my own words. But shout out to Eric, the producer. That's an interesting take, right?
The handheld. That's the other one.
We got to talk about the handheld as well. I mean, because I do think that
that's next year. I think that's next year.
You think that comes out before
they announce it at the end of this year, and maybe at the end of this year. I think that's going to be the buffer between the PS6 announcement. I think we're going to get the handheld first, and then the PS6 comes the next year after.
So
and
wait.
Also,
also
because of the handheld, I think cross-gen will still be a thing. Because that handheld, according to the specs, is not going to be that much more powerful than, say, like the Pro, right?
It has to PS5 games,
it'll play PS5 games. So
native,
So if that's the case, then they can go, well, we're releasing the handheld with it. It's going to be playing the same games as a PS5 anyway. So let's just keep those people, and cross-gen will just get extended instead of being like, what? How long did it last this gen? Like 4 years? Like, it'll probably go to like 6 years or something. Like, they'll just make a PS5 version and a PS6 version or whatever.
You got to remember, there is new management there, right? Like, they have a different strategy. It's very clear. They're going kind of back to their roots. So I personally I think there will be some cross-gen. There always is, at least a year or so. My prediction is that you're going to see a lot more games pushing the new hardware, because exclusives matter, and that's how you get people into your new ecosystem.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's like you want exclusives, get them into the ecosystem, but if the price is too high for those people to cross over, they're not going to cross over. They showed you.
I think it'll be like this gen, where
it will be.
You had games like Ratchet and Clank. You had games like
Ragnarok.
No, I mean, like for exclusive, you'll have the games that. Because like a game like Ragnarok, a game like Forbidden West, you need those to sell as many copies as possible because those are expensive to make. Versus like a Returnal or a Ratchet and Clank, which is not as much. It's still expensive, of course, but not as much expensive. So you can afford to have those exclusive for a smaller player base and still make a return on that investment. I think it'll be the same thing like that next generation. If Horizon 3 is coming out early next generation, then that'll be probably cross-gen. If I don't know when, so games like that.
I understand. No, Jay. So Jay, I was gonna say Jay makes a lot of sense with that right there. Although I will say, the more I think about it, not saying that Eric's prices were right, Eric the producer, but I will say the only way to really do this is if, in fact, you take what Ledger's saying, you take what Eric the producer's saying, and we think about this for a second, right? The only way to really make sense of the PS6 and have a subsidized cost, because me and Jez were just talking about this, and we're like, wait, that doesn't make sense if there's a PS5 out there or a Pro, right? Is they discontinue it after a year or two. Now, if you have a PS5 Pro or a PS5, guess what? Just like Jay said, you're going to get to play those games, the big budget games. But what PlayStation, and if you have Fortnite, you're like, no, I'm not buying a PS6. I bought a PS5. I'm not buying it for Fortnite again. You don't have to. You can play Fortnite on your. So this doesn't cut people out. But what it does do, if they move on from PS5 after a year or so, it does move people to the PS6. So you'll have a couple of years where people are like, I'll play Horizon 3. I'm on my PS5 Pro. I'm not spending money again. I already spent money. Good. They want you to be a customer of theirs and buy that software. The only way to really make sense of going from $900 to a subsidized price of $700 or less is a situation where you'd have to discontinue the Pro and the.
I never thought about that, but that's actually a good prediction.
They'll have to. They basically manipulate the market and saying you can't get it, you got to get a 6.
Right. But hold on before they can't look like the bad guy either, because Jay's right. If they're going to spend $300 million on the next God of War, they want you to buy that on the PS5 too. So they're going to have that compatibility for probably 3 years or so, but you won't be able to buy a PS5. But if you have one, you can play the game. Right. You can play the game.
Yeah.
You
but
know?
Also, I think most of the games will be cross-gen anyway, because the handheld will hold back PS6 games, because the handheld's part of it, right? So inherently, it'll run into the same thing that Xbox ran into with the Series S, right? You need
wait. Are they going to be able to stream the PS6 games, or do you think they're going to try to make them native?
That's what I think. I think they'll be streaming the PS. I don't know if they will make all those PS6.
That's what I think
native.
too.
Okay, so if they're streaming for the handheld, the PS6 games, and then it'll play PS5 natively. Then they're still going to have to make PS5 games even later into the gen to make the handheld worth it, unless you just turn it from a native device into a purely streaming device. And then you just have to stream, if you have the handheld, the PS6 games, which I don't think will go over well. So I think that's an added wrinkle. I think it's a wrinkle PlayStation probably shouldn't have considered, because they saw what happened with the Series S and what it did for Xbox. And having two SKUs, especially a weaker one, unless they want to heavily push streaming, and that's their idea, will push streaming massively. It's a weird decision, and I think that's going to hold back unless it's purely streaming PS6 games.
Well, what if they don't do the whole Xbox Series S and X thing, where you have to develop for both? They give you the option.
That's right? So Ledger,
like a Steam Deck thing. Like some games aren't.
That's right.
Compatible.
That's right, Jay. That's right, Jay.
I could see that, but if they're still making like PS5 games, they'd play them natively on the handheld anyway. So if they're still making a PS5 and PS6 version of the games, then I think that'll go over well. And then late into the generation, they'll just phase out the PS5 games and just focus on PS6, right? So,
yeah, I think like Moore's Law, as Dad mentioned, that the PSSR, like the way they've developed a lot of the technologies in it, they can downscale to 1080p, right? So you might not have that bottleneck of the Series S versus X that we had this.
Oh yeah, I mean
that's a good point. That's a good point.
That is a good point. So it'd be interesting to see how they go, but I think cross-gen is going to feature heavily for the PSX. Like they're still going to be making plenty of PS5 games. So if you have a PS5, it's like they reckon as of May 2024, so a little old, there was still nearly 50 million monthly active users on the PlayStation 4. So these people will eventually go over to the PS5, and then they'll just sit on that, because these are the hanger-oners. Like, these are the people that probably only care about Call of Duty and shit, right?
So that's why I'm bringing them PS6 coming out 2028.
Well, if it's 28, Jez, I think we're looking at spring 28.
Yeah, like sometime 28, but next year, I don't know.
Yo,
I think it's pretty wild.
So let me say this, because I think Jay Main was saying this. Yo, by the way, shout out to Blaze 4K. Shout out to Blaze for being here. Yo, Solid Cast. I was telling people earlier, yo, man, Solid Cast was phenomenal last night. Go over and check that out. Shout out to Blaze. We'll be over on Twitch on Saturday morning. Real quick though, Jay, you made a point. Not everything has to be there. This is smart, because here's the thing, Jay. Like, I'm hearing that it's going to play PS5 games, right? The handheld, but some PS6 games. That was key when the insider was saying that. Some PS6 games. So if you're able to play all of your PS5 catalog, all your PS4 catalog natively on the go, plus you can play a few of those early games from PS6. Now my question for you though, Jay, is, because I like where you're going, how much for that handheld? How much? Right? Because realistically, it's only going to be good for like maybe 4 years of current technology, unless you want to play your older games on it, then it's good forever. But I'm saying to you, what are people willing to pay? What are you willing to pay?
If it is that type of device where you get in the PS5 games and then the PS6, some of the PS6 games, I'm probably not the target audience for it, only because with me specifically, when it comes to games, I do like to play my games at 60 and above. So like, if the handheld is not hitting that, then I'm not really interested. But if it is doing that, this is an interesting question. I never really thought about it.
Yeah, because I mean, this is not going to be a portal. The portal's $200. That's a nice little entry for streaming.
Well, $250 now.
Yeah, 250
that's right, 250 now. But I mean, Jay, would you walk the line with 500, or is that crazy?
I don't think that's crazy.
For native, for native, you're looking around probably, because you look at
native,
maybe like 6. I'm thinking it could even hit that.
That's why they got to come out a year apart. Like that's why I'm thinking the handheld adds its own runway, and then the PS6 comes out, because I can't see them dropping 2 of those at the same time, at the PS6 and the handheld at the same time.
Yeah, they got to be careful. They have to market them differently as two.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't say that.
And the handheld could be more of a transition, because it could access your whole entire library. It could, of the PS5, and then you could use that as a transition device, like you were saying, for PS6 games. But it will kind of satisfy where you can take your PS5 games on the go, in the sense. Which I don't know. I really, it is crazy. But I just feel that this whole PS6 thing, I just want it to be far away. I really don't want new friggin' hardware.
I think the handheld will be. See, this is the problem.
It's like, but
thing is that they're in a pricing situation that they have a mess that they need to sort out now. Because if, say, they release at the end of 2027, right? You currently have a Pro at 900, you have the PS5 at 600 or whatever price it is, right? And then if you want this to come out at like 700, so you got to do something about the Pro, but then you have to reduce the PS5. But then you got a handheld, and the handheld will have to cost less than the PS6 because it's not as capable.
Yeah. Yes.
So now it's like you have 4 different products you have to price for, and it has to make sense to the consumer, and you have like 2 years to solve the situation. And this is why I'm like, I don't think it'll be the end of 27. I think it'll be like 28 or something to give them time.
That's assuming that they're gonna have inventory for the PS5 and PS5 Pro by then, right? Given the situation, they may not. They might just start boutiquing it, like similar to how Xbox with their Xbox Series X, they kind of price that out of the market just to kind of quietly, gently push it away. You can do something like that with a PS5 Pro.
Absolutely.
That is right.
But
and then if you look at the handheld, I think they're just going to price it to. They're gonna undercut Nintendo, because that's who they're trying to chase with this thing, right? In Japan.
But
so
I
feel
don't
that's
think.
what's gonna happen.
Thing is, though, it's like if the Switch is 550, it goes up to or whatever, then that's got to be at like 550, right? 500 maybe. So
maybe $50 cheaper.
Yeah, like they're gonna have to go into that ballpark. But then it's like, okay, so if you want to combat them that way, it's a whole situation. I gotta see how they pull this off, because it's going to be a miracle.
Singer, Eric, the producer, just wrote me. He said, last DM here, Mooch. He says, this is in counter to, or not counter. He's just saying, what did he say? Reasons why I think the PlayStation handheld won't be a Series S problem. He says, 1, it will not have a parity clause. 2, it has a 1080p screen, can't run above 1080p in portable mode. PSSR to enhance graphics in docked mode. 1080p upscale to 1440p 4K. Dock might be able to boost the APU. Plenty of RAM for PSSR / ray tracing. Some intense games may be relegated to streaming only. So there's going to be limitations on this thing. I think you take what Eric, the producer, is saying, plus what Jay was saying. I think there's a market out there for it, and the Switch 2 provided that. Will it be a hit sensation? No, maybe it'll only sell 3 to 5 million copies, but devices. But that's not necessarily a failure when you're talking about handhelds. Steam was very happy with that 3 to 5 million number, right?
The thing is, if you add in the dock and everything and all that extra shit that you just said, all that extra technology, then pricing it at the Switch probably isn't feasible unless you're subsidizing it heavily. And then it's like, okay, I just don't think. I think it'll do well for Sony, but I don't think it's going to be their major focus. It's just going to be here's a companion device. It'll
definitely be a niche product.
Well, that's what the Portal is. That dock needs to work with the
it'll be like the Portal. Yeah,
plug it in.
The thing is, it's like I could see it, but again, the price. This is going to be a miracle in marketing how they pull this off, being able to balance. Because even if they stop production of the 5 and Pro, you still have to sell what you have, right, in stock. So if you still have to sell stuff, even when the PS6 releases, now you have to balance the books on how do I make this make sense to the consumer? So it's going to be interesting. I'm actually looking forward to it now to see how PlayStation maneuvers the market.
It is interesting, right? Though that singer, I mean, whether you're interested in it or not, just to see how they're going to maneuver around this, because to have the next generation. And shout out to where is he? Right here. He's in the chat. He's really he's got a bunch of stuff here from Moore's Law is Dead. Shout out to Afro Soul. He says Moore's Law is Dead has posted new PS6 details. He's advising people to not purchase the PS5 Pro for $900 and just wait for the PS6 next year. That's what we're saying, Soul. That's exactly what we're saying.
That's what I was thinking too when we were talking about like the PS6 being cheaper than the PS5 Pro and people may be feeling burnt on that. I do think if the people that are purchasing the Pro maybe in the know of like where we're at in terms of the generation. Outside of the people that may be purchasing off FOMO, like people like us, we know like, all right, if I'm buying the PS5 Pro now, then I know that the PS6 is probably a couple years away. So do I want to spend that $900 now or wait until the PS6 come out? So
that's actually an interesting wrinkle for me now, because I could just wait for the PS6 and then at that point it'll be pointless because GTA will be on the PC by then. Or if the 60 FPS happens, I buy it anyway, and then I'll just forget about it afterwards. So that's another interesting wrinkle, because if it is true that the PS6 comes out in 2027 at the end of it, I don't think it will, personally. I know people said it will, but if it does, then I could just wait for the PS6.
If Moore's, and listen, I'm not saying Moore's Law is dead is 100% spot on. I'm not saying that, but he has now had multiple podcasts on, and he's talking to more and more people. I don't think Sony's going to want to lose that investment. Speaking of FOMO, the coach himself is here. Basement Radio Arcade Podcast. BRAP, great to have you on the show, buddy. Great timing. I got a couple of super chats here, and then we'll get what BRAP has to say about this as well. Kevin, by the way, is back. He says, intergalactic gameplay going to blow GTA 6 out of the water. Kevin, listen, I can't wait for Intergalactic, but these are unbelievable statements coming from you right now, Kevin. Listen, I am right there with you with Intergalactic, but GTA 6 I think is going to absolutely floor a lot of people. Shout out to D487. He says, I disagree, Jez. 1,000 easily for PS6. I'll pay you the difference if it's less. One-way bet, no loss for you. You know,
oh man,
you got to take that. You got to take that, Chez.
I think I don't know, man. I don't know. I went on a whole friggin' rant on Monday about new hardware that I really, this is not the environment right now to be bringing out any new stuff. Like it better be far away, because I really, the games are cooking. Like, I think just this hardware talk, for the birds.
Listen, it's a little too
how
often.
Much RAM it's gonna have.
Yeah, Jazz.
Oh man,
Jazz,
dude,
it's a little too often, isn't it? Shout out to Nature Boy. He says maybe the people playing on PS4 wait to upgrade every other generation, kind of like the people that are still rocking 30 series cards. Just saying. That's possible, but it is time to upgrade. Shout out to Java. Now, Java, I saw your super chat. I appreciate the super chat. I'm going to try and piece this together. Death Singer, he's saying to me and you, he says, what's up, Mooch and panel? Death Singer, a $10,000 PC cannot equal one GTA 6 day one. Wolverine, Soros, etc. Okay, I think what he's trying to say is even if you have an outstanding PC, most powerful PC, doesn't equal how much great times and how much fun it'll be to play GTA 6 day one along with those other games.
The problem with that is you have to care about those games, right? You have to want to play those games. If you do, you'll get the console for those games. If say, for example, you don't want to play.
You're one of the only people, though, Death Singer, that I know in the entire community that will. No, not GTA, not for GTA. That will say, I don't want to play GTA. I can wait the year for GTA, which is fine. That, I think there's a lot of people with you. Wolverine, no. Soros, no. Intergalactic, not interested. You're not interested in any PlayStation games. Even PC people are like, I wouldn't mind playing Soros, to be honest with you. I wouldn't mind Intergalactic, if you're really being frank. You're like, I don't mind not getting a PlayStation because you're saying I don't like any of those games. I will say that is quite the force field you've built for yourself.
Well, now he's saying he's waiting to the PS6 now, so he's not even going to get GTA 6 with 60 frames. He's already going to scapegoat.
But then again, it's not contradictory because it's.
No, I didn't say that. I just said you've built quite a shield.
Most law says it's coming out next year. I'll just wait then.
I'm just explaining this. Like the only reason I buy some Xbox games is because they actually make RPGs. Like an Obsidian game will always be an RPG. In Exile's making an RPG. Fable's an RPG. If you notice, there is a theme. There is a pattern. What do all these games have in common? They're RPGs, right? So obviously, they are making something for me. They are catering to my taste. PlayStation is not catering to me. Nintendo is only outside of Fire Emblem and Xenoblade Chronicles, because they're both, guess what, RPGs. They're the only games that are catering to me. So, of course, if you're not catering to me, I don't have to buy your product. So I will go who caters to me. So, unfortunately, PlayStation don't want to cater to me. And that's perfectly fine, because they're catering to other people's tastes. So it is what it is. You know.
BRAP, what do you think, BRAP? We're talking about this the discrepancy here of like a PS5 Pro, right? Which is going to be $900, BRAP. And now we're talking about, I mean, Moore's Law is dead, which you've quoted him a bunch. And again, he says what he says, right? He says, these are my sources, take it as you will. But if we're talking about a subsidized PS6 coming out as early as late 27 or as late as early 2028, and that's going to be subsidized to somewhere around a $699 bar tab. I mean, the $900, we came up with a couple solutions before you came on the show. I don't know if you got a chance to hear it. Some people were saying maybe one of the things, shout out to Eric, the producer, he's saying maybe they just discontinued the PS5 Pro at some point. That's the only way to make that jump to get people to go to a PS6. How do you know what I mean? So how do you have a $900 price tag this year, BRAP, and then you have a $700 price tag for a much more powerful PlayStation next year?
You would lower the price to the PS5 Pro, and then you would probably lower. You probably have the PS6, sit slightly above the PS5 Pro is what I'm thinking. I don't know. I mean. It'd be interesting. Like I don't know. I know like a lot of people say, well, PS5 Pro 600, therefore PS6 is going to be 900. I'm sorry, the PS5 Pro is 900, therefore PS6 is going to be 900. I mean, maybe I don't know. I mean, I think there's ways for them to do it. I mean, they could lower the price point of the PS5 Pro, or they could stop production and just sell through whatever inventory they have, and then maybe launch the console at 700. I don't know. I mean, there's different ways for them to probably tackle this, or maybe it does launch at 900. But I don't think it's going to launch at 900. I could be wrong, but I don't think it's going to launch at 900 just because I think that they're going to want some people to jump into the next generation of hardware, unless the plan is to continue selling PS5s, and then it becomes a situation where now Sony's kind of operating more of in that, what I would call that traditional PC space, right? Where, on the PC side, I have a 5080 now. I can say that. I can brag now. Mooch.
That's right. That's correct.
But, like with the RTX cards, right? You have your 5080s, you have your 5070s, you have your 5060s, right? And so you have different entry points into the RTX cards that are going to give you different levels of performance for the games that you play on those, those builds. And maybe that's the direction Sony's heading now, where the PS6 comes out, maybe it's a bit more expensive, maybe it's PS5 Pro level, and then they say, hey, look, you know what, similar to what Microsoft did with the Series X, Series S, here, the PS6 is our high-end device. If you don't want that, we have this thing called a PS5 or PS5 Pro. I think the PS5 Pro would probably, if they're still making it, would probably definitely be cheaper than the PS5's get my numbers confused, PlayStation 6, again assuming the PS6 is more money. Then that's one way for them to kind of market that or approach and say, hey, again, the PS6 is the enthusiast device for those early adopters who want the best PlayStation first party experience. They want the best performance. If you don't want that, you can play those games on the PS5. I think that approach might anger a lot of diehard PlayStation fans who don't like cross-generational support, because we did see a lot of that the start of this generation. But I think the landscape's changed a bit there. I think that because people haven't, I don't think people are migrating to the newer generations the way they did like during the PS2 generation, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, whatever the case is, not more than 10 years ago, but during the Xbox One, PS4 generation. I don't think people are migrating like that. I think part of that could be because people are still playing their live service games on those consoles. They're playing their Fortnites, their PUBGs, they're playing their I don't know if Call of Duty is still supported on last generation consoles.
But if they end up discontinuing PS5 at some point down the road and they go back to more of that traditional Sony, right? We're saying they're doing this, but then when this idea comes out, a lot of people will be like, no, they would never do that. If you have a PS5 or a PS5 Pro, you still can play all of those Fortnites and Apex Legends. They're not going to stop that. And Jay Main had a drop real quick. Hopefully you can come back. Jay made a great point. Jay said, you know what? These $300 million blockbuster games, like a Horizon 3 that'll come out or the next God of War, those are still going to be probably not compatible. What's what I'm looking for? Both generations, PS5 and PS6, because those are such big budget. But much like they did with Returnal and Ratchet and Clank that are expensive, but not as expensive, those would be PS6 only. To try and get you to come over, because if you have a PS5, we want you around, but we really want you to move up to a PS6. You know what I'm trying to say? So it doesn't affect the money and time you've put into these multiplayer free-to-play games. You can still do that. Nothing's stopping you. But they are going to start, because remember, they can start to move people over to a next generation. Does that hold some water? I think that was an interesting take from Eric, the producer, and then me and Jay kind of in the panel kind of doubled down on it.
Yeah, I mean, I see that perspective. I think we're just in a different time now. And we were talking about this. We had this conversation last night on BRAP, which goes live every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Shameless plug. We had this conversation with Forte as well, and
shout out to the great Gaming Forte. Also, shout out to the great Erica Cuts for the win. Shout out to Erica. Go over and check out Erica, please, over on Twitch and on YouTube. Erica, great to have you here. Go ahead, Brap. I know the great Gaming Forte. I have that. I'm gonna need. Can you tell Forte when you see him to send me a picture? I forgot what he looks like. Where is my Forte? Where is the great Gaming Forte?
Which one's a picture of the shelves?
Right, the shelves. Yes, right, that's right. Well, he used to do those 360 panorams. Remember that back in the day, Brap?
Right, yeah.
I actually wrote him and I said, "You're making me dizzy at work, Forte, but I love the effort." Go ahead, Brap, please.
He sold through his PS5 Pro inventory.
Yes.
Like, that's gone. Yeah. He was like,
Crazy.
He said that people like just came in droves and they sold out. So, but yeah, I think the times are different. I think this generation showed Sony that, there's a segment of gamers who, are on, the live service games, the Fortnites, the PUBGs, those games that they can still play there, and so they're not gonna upgrade, and so they still find themselves supporting those platforms. And then the question is, well, if people aren't going to migrate in big numbers like they used to, then if we're not going to monetize off hardware, like how do we monetize off those people who are on previous gen consoles? And I think the way you do that is by continuing, supporting, like, you're releasing games and encouraging, trying to get people to buy in the digital storefront, buy microtransactions, things like that. So I think this thing moves a bit more than what we like in terms of what we see on PC, where you have, I'll use the RTX cards as an example. You have different tiers of RTX cards for different, levels or types of performance for games. I think we probably see that with PlayStation moving forward, especially when you think about like Pisser. You got to imagine Pisser on the PlayStation 6 is probably going to be a better version of Pisser than PS5, but nevertheless,
absolutely,
just like you see with the RTX cards, right? The 50 series the 50 series RTX cards are going to have a better, more of the bells and whistles, if you will, of DLSS than you have on the 40 series and the 30 series cards. But yet, those cards are still supported by developers. People are still using those cards to play games. And not everyone's, upgrading to the new 50 series card. So I think this is kind of where this shift is happening. I think the trick for Sony is, okay, well, how are we going to monetize the people that aren't maybe necessarily onboarding in traditional sense the way they did in previous generations? So, and I think that's just probably comes down to just supporting, the release of maybe some first party games, and then, trying to drive people to, buy games on the digital storefront, or trying to incentivize people to maybe who aren't on PlayStation Plus, maybe you drive additional value in the subscription service, but
Mhm.
trying to drive or trying to present additional value to a consumer who might be sitting on the fence on PlayStation Plus, get them to at least subscribe. So that's just another way for them to drive additional revenue. So
Yes.
yeah, and and the thing with the handheld thing is kind of interesting too, right? You talked about Moore's Law is dead. I think part of that is kind of this kind of play anywhere trend that we're seeing. I mean, you look at Nintendo, right? I think the genius behind the Switch is that you could play it on the go and you could play it on your TV.
That's right.
Like,
well, that's the thing,
yeah.
Brap. So they're saying basically with the handheld right now, and I want to ask you, we all kind of went through it. Actually, I want to hear what Jez's number would be too. Because I asked Jay, and Jay had to leave early. I just talked to Jay. Jay said he'll be joining us in a few weeks again. Hopefully, that'd be great. But Brap, this is a device that'll play PS5 games natively, and probably, I think Moore's Law is dead. Who said this? Some, very, very few, but some PS6 games. So it's not going to hold the PS6 back. That's the key thing with this. It's not going to be a PS6 handheld. It's a PS5, PS4 handheld. It'll play some of your PS6 games. Probably the smaller tier games, Brap. What's the price point for this handheld? What do you do?
I don't know, Mooch. That's hard, man.
It's still a very powerful thing if it's playing PS5 games.
I don't know, maybe $500. I don't know.
I said that's what we said. We said 500. I mean, Jez, you're riding with 500. Ledger, you with 500?
Yeah, I'd say around 5. If it's native, if it's gonna play native stuff, I'm saying 5 or like around 4. I would say definitely leaning more towards the 5.
The 4 would be a sweet price tag. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Yeah, because it'll be. The thing is now they increased the portal to 250. You think double would make 5. If it was 400, maybe it would be. If it was just double the portal, but yeah, it all depends. These price increases really kind of shifted a lot of the. If you would ask me 2 weeks ago what the prices would be, a lot different, now with these price increases.
That's true.
I think they're going to be aggressive with the handheld because, again, like
it worked for the portal. It worked for the portal, man. Nobody really was like that. Did have a rough kind of like road, like people like, why would I want that? And then boom, for $200, it was flying off a shelf just for the price and what it can do.
Yeah. What do you think, that singer?
I want to play. Play a little game because shout out to Erica.
Please, yes, shout out to Erica.
She said I need to maybe take my own advice and widen my own horizons. Right now on my genres. Now I want to play a little game.
Yes, thank you, Erica.
Oh, thank you.
I want to play a little game. Right.
Mm-hmm.
This is each of these games are in a very different genre. Have you heard of them before? Right. Just show. Okay, so first up we have Stellaris. Anyone heard of it?
Yes.
Stellaris?
I heard of
4X strategy. Okay, that's 4X. Okay, grand strategy. Crusader Kings or Europa Universalis?
Yeah, I saw those. I skip over.
Yeah, okay. Grand strategy. Okay, cool. Real-time strategy. So Age of Empires?
Yeah.
Everyone knows Age of Empires, right?
Of course. As you do.
Then turn-based strategy. So like a Civilization.
Yep.
Yep.
Civ.
Yeah, okay. Everyone's
Civ.
doing that. Lovely.
Yep.
Okay. Real-time tactical games like Men of War or Total War, right? People have heard of those games. Great. Okay, cool. Turn-based tactics. So XCOM, for example.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Everyone's heard of that. Okay. Cool. Okay. How about like a City Skylines or a Frostpunk or something? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So that's a variety of genres there, and like I play all of them, and that's just an example. And I guarantee you, a lot of people don't touch these games. So trust me,
Skylines is always on the PlayStation Store. They're always pushing that. So.
Well, yeah, they are always pushing it, but like that's very mainstream. But I'm on like a Stellaris or something. It's like not too many people, I imagine, will be playing like a Stellaris. I could be wrong, but like the sales speak for not many people.
And none of those games will require anything higher than a 3080 or 30.
Well, yeah, exactly. But they're like the kind of games I enjoy, and that is a very broad spectrum of genres. So it's like, and that's just a small drop in my ocean of genres. So
how do you maintain all those? That they seem very time consuming. How do you balance between all those different games? You build your city, then you control war.
Well,
how do you bounce around?
Those campaigns.
Games are time sucks.
Yeah,
they
could go on for hundreds.
You abandon your city, and
so it's interesting though. I do have to say this. Miracle goes, you're not broadening your horizons, buddy. I will say, for someone like me, Dessinger, you know my style of games, right? I know yours. those that you mentioned, I understand they are different in their own respect for sure. But for me, all of those kind of fit in the same category of why I don't play those games, right? Yeah. They're all strategy.
They're the games you'll find in your library.
I don't want, exactly. I feel like those are a homework assignment.
Right,
you know what I mean?
But then it's like yeah, exactly. But that's where our tastes diverge.
Right? Yeah, absolutely.
Because I would rather play a Civilization over a RE9, for example, where you would rather play RE9 over Civilization, right? So that's just where we differ.
Yeah, but you know what's funny when Dessinger, and I know you don't mean it, but Jez, you know what's funny when Dessinger does this every once in a while? He makes it sound like he reads War and Peace, and I'm reading a book with just pictures in it.
No, but no, what's crazy?
I'm like, come on, Dessinger, that's not fair.
What's crazy is Dessinger then buys costumes for the ants in thongs.
Right.
That's crazy.
Well, that's all right. Well,
he would say, yo, my Total War people, I got to have them all in thongs. And these people are the size of ants. And he's like, I got to buy the character.
I got to do it.
Dress pack for them.
No, I don't buy it. I mod it, Jez. Get it right.
You modded. You got mod the thongs on them, but they're the size of ants. There they are. My strippers attacking the castle.
It's like, for example, my version of Stellar Blade is not your version of Stellar Blade.
That's my favorite right there. Yeah. My version of Stellar Blade.
My version is not yours. We are playing two very different games.
His strippers are raiding the castle.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's so like my genre. Yeah, they all come under strategy, but they're all fundamentally different games. Like
shout out to Glinter. He goes X-Men over XCOM. I will agree with that, Glinter. That is correct. That is the correct answer.
How XCOM is a goated. So see, this is the thing. Like where people have different tastes. Like I personally, they need to hurry up and make an XCOM 3. To be honest, because they're taking a sweet ass time.
I like that.
But it's like, I just enjoy these genres. It's like, as you just saw on the stream, The Expanse of Cyrus Reborn, that's going to look beautiful, but that's because it's an RPG. That's the only reason I want to play it. So it's like, and it's from Owlcat, and I love Owlcat games. So it's, like my genres are broad and far between. And if you say, well, Age of Empires is a strategy game, Civilization is a strategy game, therefore they're the same, but they're fundamentally, mechanically, and designed differently. They're all unique games, so they are not the same. They just all happen to be under the strategy umbrella, but very different genres.
Oh, absolutely. Like, and again, that was a very very broad
mouse and keyboard. They're probably a nightmare on controller.
Probably, yes.
Trust me, trying to play them like you can play Stellaris on controller, but don't do it.
I have a couple more super chats. I got to get your guys' opinions on this. I didn't mention this earlier. I think I told the guys behind the scenes. I don't know what it is. It's that time of year again here in New York where we're switching seasons. It was 70 degrees and then today was 40 degrees. I feel like, I'm telling you right now, I got that spring cold. Oh, real bad.
It's gonna be same thing.
It's gonna be 70s up there tomorrow.
I know, but that's not gonna help my allergies and my
winter coat.
The ear, nose, and throat doctor. You know what I mean? Help me here.
Yeah, I got the same thing.
Oh, it's driving me crazy right now. And I did a 3-hour podcast. Shout out again to Blaze. I did a solid cast yesterday, and I'm doing this today. I'm almost passed out here. Shout out to Nature Boy. He says, and I know it's different. He says 30 series people can still play current games. But this year, I think, and an example I think he's saying, he says, I think NCAA was strictly next gen. People upgraded. Maybe it's the same for next gen, that most sports will be next gen only. Nature Boy, I think you're onto something, but you're a bit aggressive. I don't think you're going to get the Maddens and the NBA 2Ks to jump immediately. If anything, maybe you'll see that happen in 28. Maybe I think more like 29.
Yeah, Madden's hurting too.
Yeah, they're not gonna let go of the 100 and something million people on PS5 at that point in time.
Yeah, so those COD packs.
But it does take the sports games, and it does take the Fortnites, and it takes those types of games to move on to next gen, right? To get people to make that movement, and we're seeing that movement about to happen in the next few months. You're seeing, BRAP, you said it with Gaming Forte. People are they're doing it for twofold. They wanted to beat the $200 price increase. But they also want to play the best way they can play GTA. And GTA is only available on current gen consoles. You can't play GTA 6 on a PS4, right? I mean, unless that's somebody who's modding it. I don't know. I don't think you can do it. My point. So shout out to Brian.
Wait, what? Hang on. What was that?
No, I was joking. I was just saying. I'm saying we were talking about the next gravitational pull to this generation, and that's GTA 6. He was saying.
Oh yeah.
Nature Boy was saying if the sports games will next year only be available on PS6 and the next Xbox, everybody will move. I said that won't happen right away. They're going to want that 120 million people on PS5 to buy it for the next couple of years before they make that leap to PS6 only.
Yeah.
So that's where I was going with that. And then Brian, he says, why stop there? Keep waiting for the PS8 Death Singer. That was the joke about 10 minutes ago when you were like, I'll wait. So we've got Erica in the chat, and Erica has made a promise to me. This is going way back. Good on her for her memory on this. She's like, Mooch, when we see the next Gears, I'm coming on to Crossfire. And I said, that's great. So she goes, here we are. We have Gears E-Day being shown June 7th. So guys, two things real quick. And BRAP, I'll start with you real quick. BRAP, Gears E-Day is getting its in-depth look June 7th, after the Xbox showcase, okay? There's a lot of the Xbox faithful out there that think that the new CEO is going to change all directions and go back to exclusives.
No.
I agree with you. I also would say no, but do you think is there even a remote chance that you see, two questions, that you do see Gears E-Day get a exclusive time period on Xbox only, A? B, what do you think E-Day, are they going to drastically change it? And I know if Erica was here right now, I don't know. I don't think Erica wants a drastic change from when me and her last spoke Gears, and I'm really dating myself with this. But I would like to see them bring Gears a little. Don't change the formula all the way, but let's bring Gears of War a little bit into this century, right? With the static movement and things like that. Can we do that and still keep the essence of Gears, BRAP?
I mean,
you know what I mean? I think it needs to be refreshed a bit.
Yeah, I get like the roadie run in yep.
That
kind of like the cover system. I get what you're saying. Like it was great when it came out.
It was a long time ago, BRAP. 2007, buddy. 20 years.
Yeah, it was great 20 years ago. I'm not saying it's bad or that I don't enjoy it. I don't know. Just for me, the roadie run and the mechanics, at least, just I don't know. It feels a little antiquated. But again, like I also like the story of Gears, so I can look past those things, right? Like the shooting galleries. Okay, like I get it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's a great question. I mean, I personally don't think they'll change the formula in terms of the gameplay mechanics. I just think that I don't know. I feel like Xbox fans would be very upset by that. I think they'll probably just keep it the same. I guess what I'm hoping to see more than anything is just a really good story. I'm really intrigued by E-Day, this being kind of the prequel, if you were to the first to the first Gears with Marcus and
Dom
and Dom
and the team.
Young Marcus, and I wonder if he's gonna have like that gruffy that gruff voice of like that.
Oh, he's good. Of course he is. That he wasn't born with it. I mean, if we're gonna see Marcus when he was like 8, probably not. But if we're seeing Marcus,
I think at 8 he was like that too, Mooch.
Listen, possibly you have him having he's smoking a Cuban at 8. I don't know, maybe.
You're right. He's smoking a Cohiba at age 8. Yeah.
Shout out to Blessed Red. He says I'm not talking about skill level, Blessed. He says keep Gears the exact same way. Here's my problem with that. BRAP and Jez and Detzinger, chime in on this. When Gears remaster came to PlayStation, I think a lot of people thought it was just going to blow up, right? Like Gears is finally on PlayStation.
It was old.
It didn't.
No, the problem I had Mooch, the problem I had with Gears was that it was like they evolved that multiplayer over Gears 4 and Gears 3, and at least with Gears 3, like there was so much more. And just getting the old original multiplayer, that was great when it came out, but they tweaked and evolved Gears with so many different weapons. Like you couldn't tag grenades on the walls and set traps and stuff. Like that was the problem with that. That's why I didn't gravitate to it. I felt like it was like this was great when it first started, but we could tag people and kick them, like hold people hostages and tag them with the grenade and kick them at somebody. Yeah. Like all those moves that they added, even the chainsaw duels and all that other stuff, that wasn't in the first game. So getting Gears Ultimate and going back to that original Gears without those moves that we've had in the other Gears, that's where like I was like, oh, you couldn't do this. Like I felt so limited. They did add some of the, the ranking and stuff like that, but the abilities and weapons and stuff weren't in that game. So, it was kind of tough going back. My thing here with the Gears E-Day is thinking about the story and thinking about the weapons and the what we've played in the future. This is a prequel to Gears Ultimate. So like they have every right now to kind of go very basic, grounded Gears with like the chainsaw and shotgun, and maybe not as elaborate with all the crazy guns that we've had, like the driller and all that other stuff. Pause, like all that stuff that we had in the multiplayers in Gears 3 and Gears 4, all these crazy weapons, because this was E-Day. So like I don't know if they could just say these weapons existed, or we're gonna get a very kind of focused, rudimentary kind of Gears starting again, because it is a prequel. So like I don't know if they're going to introduce all the weapons that they did in Gears 4 and 5 in the game. So I'm not sure what they're going to do, but I do think they got to keep it the modern way. Gears 5 was all right. I felt like they needed to do more. My biggest thing was I love the environmental things that were in Gears 3. I love the avalanches. I love the the toxic gas and the train map. All those classic maps. Like I definitely think the Gears 4 played it safe. Gears 5, I think it was just more of the same. Then they threw the Terminators in there and their collaboration, and it got kind of wonky. And also the colors, like they glue up red, and it was definitely a little more. Yeah, they went a little crazy with 5. I think try to bring them more to Gears 3 and Gears 2. Those were like peak for me, like around there. So if they could try to bring some of that multiplayer there, but I'm interested in the story. I'm really, we heard about E-Day, we never seen it, and that we're going to experience it with this. So I'm excited to see what they do. Plus, my last comment on this is that, this is the first full Gears without Rod Ferguson there.
Right.
And that was his passion.
Without Rod and without Cliffy B. Because Rod was Cliffy and Rod were there together. Then Cliffy left, right? Rod took over, or was there at least pretty high up, and then he took over.
He did 4 and 5. Yeah, right. Rod came back,
and now you have one without either.
Now, the one thing I will say, and I'll say this on my show, is that even the DLC, I don't know how much he had, but Hive Busters was awesome. I liked the pacing of Hive Busters.
I did too.
I really enjoyed that part more than Gears 5 itself, the DLC. And now, if that is what they're going to deliver without Rod Ferguson there, and they do E-Day of the Gleam of Gears Hive Busters, definitely. Because that was, I think, the best thing Microsoft's put out. I love Hive Busters. Was like I like gave them a nod. I was like, yes, this is what we're doing. I like Hive Busters. I went through it. I like the story. I like the pacing. It was classic. It was good. Do that with E-Day even a little more, and we're good. So if that is what post Rod Ferguson Gears looks like, I think they're pretty good with it. So hopefully it comes out. That's probably the biggest game I'm excited for them. Like for Xbox is Gears. Like
so wait, so Jez, I'm getting your take on the game in a second. I just want to get one quick answer from Jez here. Jez, does Gears of War E-Day come to PlayStation day one, or it stays Xbox exclusive?
I think it comes to PlayStation day one. Like I think it would definitely. It will be. I think it's going to be on PlayStation. It's going to be announced just like they did with Fable, just like they're doing with every other game. Yeah. I think it would be very jarring for them to not to all of a sudden go back and say exclusives. Now, maybe they choose not to show PlayStation and it comes later and they kind of do the Forza going, hey, don't worry, we'll put it there later. I know they need to go back to exclusives, but I think the ship has sailed so much that, Satya talking about how much money they're making. They got to sell their games. Unless they revamp the Game Pass model and they try to sell their games on their platform, I think it's too far gone. And, I need like a drink after having Tim Dog on. Shout out to Tim Dog. We went back and forth on my show with the whole exclusive talk and everything like that. And it's just like, how does the numbers not matter anymore? They were like, they just showed their financials. We're going to see them again. Now, like all of a sudden now Asha's immune to them. Like, she can make them lose money and just like pull games for what? To bring back people to a console that they don't want people to go back to that console, because the console they're showing is a hybrid. Who asked for that's my whole thing. Like if it's back to Xbox, then the next console should be Series X2. Like, why is it a hybrid? Who asked for that? Who wants
Right.
Windows? I didn't want Windows.
No.
That's not back to Xbox.
No.
Back to Xbox is you go back to the console,
The console
360,
and the
Xbox.
console only. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not going. Who wants Windows? Who wants Steam?
Yeah.
Like that's not back to Xbox. So the message is back to Xbox. I think that she's trying to hoard everybody together to try to move them over to this hybrid vision and Windows gaming and the Windows Store.
Well, they want to double dip. Right now, they're gonna
That's what they're doing,
they're gonna
yeah.
be just like Ubisoft. They're gonna be just like all the other ones. So what's gonna happen is you're gonna
I
have.
can't see him doing that.
You can
though.
go ahead
It'll
and-
be pretty wild if she does, though. I have to say, and that's what they need to do to bring Xbox back. But I just
But
think
again, I think
one game is not going to do it. They got to say Fable's not coming anymore.
But they're all coming. That's what I'm
Halo's
saying.
not coming.
So you have Fable. You have Halo. Listen, they just did
They
a
gotta pull it
huge
off.
Halo thing where the guy at the Halo lead developer was wearing a PlayStation shirt. Like,
yeah,
you know what I
and the
mean?
way
like
they announce it too.
They're doing
They're
so.
so
Halo's
proud.
coming.
Even
There's
Todd Howard stuff.
That's why when people are like, "Oh, this is going to be different," I'm like, "It's not." I don't see how it is because it's just too far down that path. They can't turn around now. And not just that. Phil said back in the day, this was the worst generation to lose was last generation, the PS4, Xbox One one. Now you have another. Listen, they lost that one. What was it? 117 million to 60 million. This one is going to end up by the end of this generation with the PS5 Pro and GTA 6. It's probably going to be 120 million to like 40 million. So like,
they're going to cut off 100 million PlayStation.
Too many customers that they've moved over to PC and PlayStation. Yeah. So I don't see how they're able to do that. I do agree with Erica, though. Give her a shout out here. She says, my prediction is the PlayStation logo isn't on the showcase, but then a tweet confirms it on PS5 day one. You know,
that would surprise me.
I agree. They could do something like that.
Yeah,
or
that wouldn't surprise me.
They could do, but then the thing is there was the other thing because that came up during my conversation with him. And the thing is like if Asha was so adamant about not having PlayStation logos, like that showcase that they just had. Yes, it was a third-party showcase, but traditionally they didn't show PlayStation logos, and they had them all over the place: Steam, PlayStation. Yeah. And you know, if she was that adamant about like we're gonna not advertise,
it wouldn't have been at that one either. Then,
you would have put you would have took it off of that one under your regime because that was your show.
Yeah, I'm actually showing that on screen.
Jez, quick question for you. I haven't talked to Tim in a while. Does he think exclusives are coming back? Does he think that conversation is on the table at Xbox?
Yes. So like that's the thing. I was saying, are you hearing this? I asked him. I was like, are you hearing this, or is this what you want? Like, if you believing? And he's like, no, they're talking about it, but then he's like, but this is what they need to do. So he kept going back to like, I think he just is trying to get out there so much that maybe the pressures force them to do it. I don't know if they're saying, hey Tim, it's going to be exclusive. Like in his they want to be. You know, he says they kept Booty because he likes exclusives. I'm like, no, I don't think so. Like, I don't think they kept Booty. They kept Booty because if they got rid of him, the studios would have said,
well, Booty's claim to fame was Minecraft. And that was it.
Sony out of business.
And that's everywhere.
I don't know. I think they're thinking very hopefully. He's like, just like there's this new regime and that she has, she's bringing, I don't know. He kept saying, he really believes it. But I don't.
So here's my thing. If you look at her background, right? She was at was it Grubhub? I don't remember. One of the apps.
Something. It was like
DoorDash. So if you look at her background, right? Like she doesn't have that connection that Phil Spencer had to the gaming community, to the Xbox brand, right? And I think I think she was picked because she doesn't have that tie to the community. She doesn't have that investment in time into the Xbox brand like Phil Spencer did.
Yeah.
She's not really tied to gaming. She's not really a gamer. Look, I'm not saying that she needs to be a gamer to
right. Absolutely not.
Her job. What I'm saying is that like Phil, if you look at the contrast between her and Phil, they're different backgrounds, right?
Absolutely.
Backgrounds. Yeah. Phil, people always say Phil saved the Xbox. I think for her, just given her background, right? Her background at DoorDash was figuring out a way to grow that digital storefront or that digital app, right, and acquiring more consumers, right? And I think that's what she's. I think I don't know if I say this on Twitter, and I know Xbox people will get upset when I say this, but like they don't care about the console owners. And if you don't believe me, they don't care about the console owners. They basically have said that to you by putting all your exclusive games, which you went out and bought at the start of this generation. You bought the Xbox because you were, as you did in previous console generations, you bought because you were expecting to get Halo, Gears, Forza. Those were exclusive games, right? That's that ROI we talk about when people buy platforms or hardware. They took those things away. And they said, we're going to give them the PlayStation. We're going to give them the PC. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, by the way. And people like take that as some kind of insult at Xbox. No, I think it's great that Microsoft's doing that. Like they clearly weren't doing well, right, in the traditional console space. They're playing to their strengths as a company, right? Software as a service. We're going to meet the customers where the customers are. That's Microsoft to a T. And so I think with her, it's like, yeah, like we're gonna come out with this hybrid thing. And it's for the people that want to buy Xbox hardware, but like the focus really isn't about them anymore because they're there, they're locked in, they don't care about them. They're running a different business model now. They're out of the traditional console space. So it's really weird that all of a sudden, and I think like Jez, you're talking about Tim, like I've seen this conversation on Twitter more recently where it's like, like it's funny, like Logic and I were talking about this today. It's like 2 months ago, like. Everything was an Xbox was cool, right?
Right.
And now that they pull the marketing, it's like, yeah, that marketing sucked.
It's
like,
terrible.
Wait a minute.
All there with it. Like, yeah, no.
Like, wait a minute. What's happening? Now it's, hey, exclusives are anti-consumer, or, exclusives don't make financial sense. You got to put your games everywhere because games cost more money.
Right.
Now it's, well, you know what? Maybe they need to bring exclusives back. Maybe I'd like to have exclusives back on the Xbox console. And it's like, it's just really weird, this shift in narrative, and that's the one thing that frustrates me about some of the hardcore Xbox fans. It's like, guys, like if you don't agree with something Microsoft's doing, like speak with your wallet, speak out against Phil Spencer or leadership. Say, no, I don't want this.
You guys seem gone.
Yeah, you guys seem to like change. The narratives change based on whatever it is Microsoft is putting out there, and so it's just really weird. So I'm just under the impression, in my opinion, that she doesn't care about the traditional console owner because she knows like those people aren't going anywhere. I think that's why they brought things back like FanFest, right? Keep those folks engaged, keep them keep them. You gotta rally the base, right? You gotta rally the base. And I think though the long-term plan is given her background, right, in creating digital economies, creating a digital storefront that attracts more consumers. I think that's the focus for Xbox right now. How do we get more consumers playing our games, right? And that's what I think she's going to be focused on. I think that's why I don't know if this is rumor or if this was actually corroborated, but I thought there was something out there about maybe her having conversations with Netflix about Xbox Game Pass or Xbox being on Netflix.
Yeah, Netflix, yep.
Yeah, so I mean, think about that for a second, right? Like, I think that is what we're going to see from them. Yes, they'll still make hardware for the diehards, but they're really trying to cast, I think, a wide net.
Yeah, you can't say we're going to go back. We're going to go back to what Xbox was, BRAP, and then be like, hey, Netflix, you want to link up? What I mean? It's like they're staying with the subscription based, which is listen. We said this. That's the thing. There's a lot of people that also were in the Xbox camp, and now they're like, I've been saying this for a long time. I'm like, you've been saying for a long time. I've been saying this since me and Crap been saying it like 2017, 2018. BRAP, you've been saying it since day one too. It's like that model. It's not that it just the idea of Game Pass. It didn't grow. It just didn't do what people want to do. And Netflix, I like how the CEO of Netflix kind of responded. He goes, we're kicking around ideas. Because the Netflix guy goes, that's not the same way that you interpret media. You know what I mean? Like you don't play a game the same way you watch a TV show, BRAP.
Yeah.
No, you don't. You really don't.
Jarelnik said that. The guy from Rockstar.
Yeah, right. That's right. He said it too. And he said that years ago.
By the way, it's Instacart. I keep saying DoorDash.
Oh, it's Instacart?
Yeah, it's Instacart.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Shout out to Gaming Ledger. Ledger had go ahead, please.
Yeah, I want to ask Jess something because you mentioned you brought up High Busters and you said you really enjoyed High Busters. It was a really great. I agree with you. I thought High Busters was like it really surprised me of how much I enjoyed the game. Like I was, it's another Gears game. I think what I liked about High Busters, Jess, new characters, right?
Mm-hmm.
They actually did a good job of kind of fleshing out those characters a little bit, giving you a little bit of like getting you like emotionally tied to those characters and wanting to learn more about those characters, especially towards the end of the game. But I also what I liked about Gearbusters too, or not Gearbusters, Highbusters. Liked about Highbusters.
Gearbusters.
Yeah, I know, right? Sounds like a cheap mobile game. What I liked about Highbusters was that it didn't overstay its welcome. It was like
it was enough. You're right.
Yeah.
It was well paced.
Yeah, short, sweet, well paced Gears.
I thought
didn't overstay its welcome, and I thought it was great. Like,
so,
I
BRAP,
loved it.
my
Now,
only caveat before you finish your analysis is just I actually thought it was just a tad too short to do a little bit more character development. But go ahead.
the other thing I was going to say too, and I didn't get a chance to answer this. You were talking about like bringing Gears up to like more modern day take in terms of gameplay mechanics. Like we talked about the roadie run. I think maybe I just thought of this because I was thinking about Battlefield, right? And I think like the one thing we love about Battlefield is the destructible environments, right? Like maybe introduce that. Like I understand like I understand the cover system's like the signature like gameplay mechanic, right? In Gears, but what if they like added destructible cover?
Yes.
Like force you to move.
I like it.
You know,
I like it.
Like just like like dynamic, like cars, debris, cars flipping over. You know, like less of this, like less of the fluid. Like I'm just gonna hug the wall and I'm just gonna sit there and camp.
Right.
Yeah. That would be awesome, like destructible. Well, even like on the level of like, that you could, because you could funnel people away from like just sitting behind a wall, you know, and just like popping shots, you know.
Well, I have another. Geez, BRAP, now you got the ideas going here. Imagine if you were actually to be able to do, what was the name of that when you would double press and you could actually put your back up against the wall or against a car? What do they call that? Not the run.
Snapping, like
the
snapping.
snapping. Imagine now you can snap to the side of a car and then you can grab like the fender of it and just kind of lift it and like move it. Something you can move. Like I mean, these guys are. Yeah. I'm thinking the gear suit could do a little help. But you know,
like you rip off the door and then it becomes like a mobile
right.
cover.
You know what I mean? Something.
I think they did that in like
did they do
what the hell was that co-op game from Remember not in Gears.
But I didn't think so.
They did something like that in what the hell was that?
Army of Two? I don't know. What
Army of Two. I thought it was like an
Army of Two.
Where you could rip off a shield or something. Yeah. No, that like all that.
That's what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say what BRAP's talking about, what you just said, Jez, and I want to get that singer's take on this real quick. Like, without change, that doesn't change the flow of Gears, but it gives it that a little bit more speed and momentum and movement.
Mooch, but you know the diehards like, and I don't want to speak for Erica, but I suspect Erica might not like that. Maybe she would.
Maybe she would. You know what I mean?
But I think the diehards would be like, "What do you mean I can't roadie run and I got to move and there's destructible, it's destructible environments now and cars flip over." Like, I think some people would probably. I guarantee some people would be unhappy.
But something, listen, it's kind of like
it's been such a long time since
it's
Gears,
like,
though. Like,
but it's like
Gears 5. It seems so long ago.
It's just kind of like Seinfeld. Remember the episode where they went to go pitch the Nothing episode to NBC? And the guy, and the head of NBC was like, "What happens during the episode?" And they're like, "Nothing." And the NBC guy goes, "Well, something has to happen, right?" Like the thing is you can't be like, "Well, we're not. I want a different Gears. Don't change anything." What? Like you have to change something. Something has to happen. So what is it? It's either going to be the movement, right? It's either going to be the way that you can actually lock yourself against the wall or any kind of. It's got to be the weapons or it's got to be the speed. Something has to change. I mean, I'm just throwing ideas out there.
Jez, let me ask you a quick. Jez, to refresh my memory here, did Hivebusters have more like were the battles like smaller in scale than the other Gears games?
I think so.
Like they had.
I seem to think they were.
They were.
Yeah, they were much more focused, linear. Like, and that's where this.
That's what I like.
There's rumors that this may be open world. I think they didn't say that. I think it's gonna be more corridors. I think it's gonna be more back to Gears. The first one, but anyway, Hivebusters was definitely you would get to an area, you would fight, and it was definitely a much more structured game. But it had really intense, battles. That's what it had. Where like Gears 5 with the open world, that was not good. That was a lot of that really wasn't that great. The open world stuff and and that rift, that skiff, whatever the hell that skiff thing. Yeah, I did not like those open world segments. I thought they were just like. You're roadie running in an open desert. Like it's kind of weird why you like. Yeah, they should have made better animations for the open world, like climbing or things like that.
Well, people say,
but yeah, Hive was much more traditional.
People say Hivebusters, and it gets a lot of glory. Which, by the way, good for that game, right? Yeah. But the thing is, I don't know if you guys, I got to Hivebusters late. I think I played it like 8 months after it came out or something like that, and I was still popping rare trophies or rare rare achievements.
It was like the best thing for the
too.
Xbox One when the series series consoles went along.
So-
wait, was it the Xbox One? Or
It was
series console?
That's a great question. I want to say Xbox One X, right?
What was it? The One X, or was it the series?
Well, when did 5 came out? 5 came out on the One X, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So it was that generation. It was the same one.
Yeah, it was the One X.
Yeah, One X. Death Singer, what's your take on the Gears E-Day thing, Death Singer? I tend to think from your resume of games that Gears may not be your bag, but do you think it's going to come to PlayStation day one or eventually? Not at all. And do you think Gears needs to change at all?
I mean,
I
enjoyed Gears 5, Gears 4. I think E-Day will just be keep the combat but have better characters and a better story than Gears 5. Because, I mean, Marcus, Phoenix, and Dom is not the same as Kate and whatever the fuck they had in 5. Like, so I think they'll keep the movement and stuff.
James,
like keep the gameplay and movement and like open world kind of hub world of Gears 5, but replace it with good characters and a good story. And there's E-Day, so I think it'll be fun. I'll play it because I enjoy my third person shooters. And I've always been a fan of Gears. Although 4 and 5 was kind of like the way the ending of 5, I was like, this is a bit depressing. I was kind of disappointed. I'm going to keep it real.
I'd like that ending. Can I spoil it a little bit?
Who knows? What's the statute of limitations?
4 or 5? You mean 5?
5.
Oh,
yeah.
You can. Yeah, I don't care. I don't like it.
It's your
choice. I'll call it the choice.
It's your Twitter that'll blow up, bro.
Wait, you actually enjoyed the choice.
The choice, dude. That was the most not meaningful choice.
Yeah, it was so
I'm like, kill them both. I'm like, I hit the 2 buttons.
Yeah.
Just is like,
I don't care.
Well, the choice
A B at the same time. Like, come on.
I'm like, everybody dies. Let's start anew.
I'm also not going to do this. This game just came out, so Resident Evil Requiem, right? There's a choice at the end of that game, and which I did. You got to try them both to get the achievement. I got the platinum last week. Like you have to play them both. But like my point being is that was equally as stunning and odd. You know what I mean? It was kind of weird. I don't know if you guys got that far. Anybody else beat Requiem?
No. Don't spoil that one.
No, I'm not.
I think Crimson Glaze, Crimson Desert took me away from Resident Evil.
I'm getting towards the end of Resident Evil.
I will not say a word. I'm just going to say there's a choice, and you guys.
Not another
spoilers.
No.
Come on.
No. There's
probably if you want to be a zombie forever.
No.
Exactly.
It's not near. By the way, the choice is not
Nemesis.
The choice is not. It's not like Gears. It's not in that same fashion.
That Gears choice. I swear, I was hitting both of those buttons. I'm like, everybody goes. Let's go.
Mooch,
if
I get to the end of Requiem and there's a choice to be Nemesis, I'm not going to be happy.
That was the stupidest boss fight in the end. I didn't know what the hell I was fighting. I didn't know what that was going on. That was Gears 5 was horrible.
The thing is, the choice was very anticlimactic. And
yes.
I didn't like it. Like it didn't do anything. And I was like, so what was the point of putting the choice here? Like it was pointless. It was just put there to make people feel something, but I felt nothing. I'm like,
I definitely felt something.
I mean, I just picked the dude, I was like,
were you guys excited when Marcus got gobbled up by that whatever? I don't know what it was. And I thought,
but by that thing, that was in Gears 4, wasn't it?
No, that was
was
that 4?
No, he got eaten by that thing on the roof.
Yeah, and I was like, oh shit, they killed Marcus Phoenix. I'm like,
4.
I was so happy. And then it's
then you got to go find it and cut him out of there. And he's
then it's like he's back.
I was just there.
Yeah, he lived a long time in that.
He was chilling. It took me forever to get to him.
I'm surprised he didn't like no Marcus Phoenix. I'm surprised he didn't chew to that thing's belly, and like come out the other end and be like, JD, I ate its stomach. Oh,
yeah, he burned his way out with a cigar. I don't know. I just think
he should have ate JD instead.
Yeah.
So I get the sense Jez didn't like JD as a character.
I like JD in Gears 4. In Gears 5, he was like a supplemental character. I'm like, oh my gosh, what happened to Marcus Phoenix's son? I want Marcus Phoenix and his son wrecking house. I didn't care about Kate and Jay, whoever the other guy was, backup.
Jess,
Rod,
you know what's funny? It almost seems like he had a more prominent role, right, in Gears 4,
and they twisted
and then 5. It's like he's just like this like offshoot character no one gives a fuck about.
Yeah, and then they put him in the choice, and it's like, you see ya. I'm like, how are you gonna do the next game?
I said this a long time ago. They should kill off Master Chief. They should kill off Marcus Phoenix. Just
talk about franchises, dude. Oh, it was Dell. Thank you, MTA. Thank you.
That was Dell. Yeah.
He was so irrelevant. They couldn't even remember his name.
Dude, it's a Dell. I have no clue who that guy. Man.
Hey, Dell, where's your laptop?
Yeah, exactly. That guy. And talking about franchise stories, I don't know what the hell they're gonna do with Bootleg Joel and Bootleg Cortana and Master Chief flying around the Halo ring, dude. I have no. Yo,
I mean, to be fair,
that's a great point.
Kate, I only enjoyed Kate because it was Laura Bailey playing the character. She's a
of course.
Well,
Laura
Bailey. But it's like JD turned into I don't know what the fuck. Adele was basically background wallpaper.
Didn't Lori Bailey, wasn't she in did she do the voice acting in Last of Us?
Yeah.
In what, Mooch?
In The Last of Us.
Yeah, she did Abby.
Yes. She was Abby. That's what I thought. I was gonna say she was in Last of Us. Yeah.
She's in everything.
Yeah, she's very talented. I will say this though. I want to ask you guys a question real quick. Well, by the way, hold on. Shout out to the great gaming ledger who said to me, Mooch, I got a hard drop off at 9:20. I am going a little bit later than I said I was going to go tonight. He says the internal stress test by any good for Xbox failed. Doing exclusives at this point is an automatic money-losing proposition. To actually sell boxes, it's even worse because it can't be on Steam. Oh, wow. Yeah, good point. Yeah, so if they were to go real dedicated back to Xbox, they'd have to pull them off PC too? Is that what you're saying,
Yes, that's what he's saying. Or just do the Windows Store. But a lot of them just want it off PlayStation. That's what they consider exclusives. But really, it would be off of Steam too. That would be the real deal to get people. And
Correct.
Just the Windows Store.
Yeah.
And Xbox. Which they tried before, and nobody went to it, and then they put their games on Steam with Master Chief Collection. So they tried it already. Nobody did it.
So I got a question for you guys real quick. We'll do a quick fire around here, and then it'll be the end of the show. So I'm playing a good amount of Marathon. I don't know if I know Death Singer's not playing Marathon.
I'm not playing it. Yeah.
I like it. I don't love it. I like it. I think it's a great game that I put into my multiplayer rotation. And it's a great debate to always discuss with people. And I don't even argue with you. If you don't like it, you don't like it. That's fine. That's completely fine. But like I like what Ark did for Extraction. I think what Marathon does is something different in the Extraction space. And plus, you've really got to like learn the game. Like you have to know what these things are. You're picking things up. You're like, where do we go with this? Maybe a tad on the convoluted side as far as where does this key open? They don't tell you anything. Oh, well, just look it up or get good. It's like, dude, I've got over 50 hours in the game, and I'm like still looking to see what this does and what that does. I played Cryo once, didn't die in Cryo, brought proper weapons, this and that, but ended up dying at the didn't die to it as far as losing, but lost in the end because we couldn't get out. We died because of the timer. So that was frustrating. But nonetheless, here's the thing, guys. The reviews are coming in. This thing is sitting at an 81 on PC, an 81 on PlayStation, and an 84 on Xbox, according to Metacritic. 81, I think, is where they're holding the average. So what's with the hate, though, for it? I mean, there's a lot of multiplayer games that you guys probably... Like if I said, hey, BRAP, Jez, Deathsinger, let's get on some Apex right now or some PUBG, you'd be like, no, thank you. Right? You'd be like, no, thank you. Why is it? My question is why the Marathon hate? Is it because it's Bungie? Is it because PlayStation owns it? Is it just because you think people don't like it? Where's the hate coming from? Because it's got a good review. And the people that are playing it love it. They're holding between 35 and 40,000 people on Steam a day. That's not great numbers, but it's also consistently holding there. What do you guys think, Brap? I'll open up to you. I know you don't like the game. I know that, but what's the hate about?
No, like I don't hate the game. I just kind of bust.
No, it's fair.
That's fair. Yeah, no, it's not my bag. You know, I suspect some of it's because it's Bungie, and there's probably some.
Yeah, 36,000 people playing now on Steam, which is not, again, that's not record breaking or anything crazy, but at the same time, it's been holding there for a while.
Yeah, I think some of it's just like kind of that residual, maybe bad taste that people have with, you know, Destiny 2 and Bungie, and now it's a Sony studio, so I think there's part of that. But I wonder if some of it's maybe fatigue. Of
I can see
live service games, you know, where it's like, yeah, here's another live service game. It's another game that's going to want to charge me more money, and I'm going to have to pay. I'm going to have to pay to play or pay to win. And I'm not saying Marathon's pay to win, but hey, it's I gotta, it's free, but then I gotta buy all this stuff, and it's just, I think there's probably some of that. I think there could be maybe some fatigue here. With these types of games. And but then you look at Arc Raiders and it didn't have that. So, I don't know. Like it's interesting, I think I'm going to lean Mooch because I just brought up Arc Raiders, that it's probably more of, it's Bungie, and some people just don't care for Bungie.
And BRAP, I apologize to interrupt you, but Ernest Griffin 4838. Listen, Ernest. By the way, I know. So I think he just started the show. He's at the beginning of the show. Ernest, he goes, stop, Mooch. That's 2 terabyte Xbox. It's not $800. It's $650. Be honest. It was $800 for the 2 terabyte Xbox, which had nothing in it new. If we're going to compare an $800 or a $900 PS5 Pro for what you're getting compared to the 2 terabyte Xbox that was $800, that was the comparison we were discussing early in the show. So it is consistent.
He's really behind.
You know what I mean? It was that was 2.5 hours ago. But nonetheless, I just wanted, if he ends up listening to the show, it is consistent. Money's money. Okay, $800, $900. Just saying. And for the Xbox to charge $800 when they went up in September of last year, they didn't give you anything hardware except for 1 more terabyte. And I believe the Pro has 2 terabytes. Does the Pro have 2 terabytes as well, Jez?
Yes.
Right. So you're getting the 2 terabytes plus you're getting.
One thing you're missing is a disk drive.
Sorry, I'm not Jez, but yeah, I said yes too.
That's okay. I know that Jez does the tech like breakdowns when the items come out. That's why I asked him. I figured he had that memorized. But he says, then Ernest says, he says $650 for the regular. I meant it's $749 for the 2 terabyte. Be factual. Are you out of your mind? Listen, buddy, $749 for 2 terabyte for the exact same machine, basically, that we got in 2020. The PS5 Pro was $699 a week ago for 2 terabytes and a hell of a lot more inside the box. So, Ernest, sorry I was off by $50. Calm down. Go ahead, BRAP. My bad. This guy, $50. Be factual. Come on, Mooch. It's $749 for the same thing you could have got for $500 in 2020. But this is insane. But go ahead, buddy. I just wanted to make sure that Ernest knows.
Yeah. So I think it's a little bit of that, Mooch. It's it's Bungie, and I've been toying with this idea that maybe gamers are just fatigued with live service. That here's another game that's gonna ask me to give up my life and spend my 40 hours a week. It's another part-time job, and then I got to pay into it. I think some of that, and I suspect maybe it's some of it being Bungie.
Well, I think the Bungie hate is what it is, and Bungie deserves a bit of it. I mean, that art they stole, right? That whole thing that went on.
Oh yeah, and
then
absolutely.
The issues they were having with upper management, right? So I mean, they deserve some of that. But again, at the end of the day, there's a lot of companies out there that had a lot of internal turmoil, right, BRAP? But then they put their product out, and it's like, well, I'm going to judge the product. I mean, I'm not buying into their. I mean, if they had a problem internally, that's like, well, this guy was a jerk and they got rid of him. Well, he's gone, and they got rid of him, didn't they? Didn't they get rid of the top guy? I thought he's gone.
The guy that bought the cars after he. I don't know.
The guy who was the guy, one of their CEOs or one of the top guys. He's gone.
Yeah.
So they
I do think it had a bad rollout too. Like I
did,
think that marathon it got delayed, and
they needed that delay though. Jez, if they didn't do the delay, there would be like 8 people playing it right now.
Yeah, but oh no, you're right. And the thing is that didn't have a good reveal. Like, I think that, them sitting around the couches and it didn't have a really good initial impression. And I think that people had a little bit of that Destiny hate on them too for like what they kind of did to Destiny 2. And so that was there. Plus the thing is that everybody, the dolling was Arc Raiders. Arc Raiders didn't have that whole bunch of hype. It had a beta, it came out, it had that word of mouth and just took the world by storm. And that's the dolling. And when somebody's like, oh, and here's our service game that's we're gonna try to pull you away from your dolling, people are like, nah, man, we're not part of it. So it got a little bit of kind of extra where we like what we're playing, and this is not going to pull us away from it. And that's where I think that hate was. But the thing is like I really think the game itself, the gameplay is awesome. It really is just. I feel that I don't like the aesthetics of it. I think it's too I think everything looks too pristine for an abandoned and I know everything's 3D printed and all that other stuff, but I think the world doesn't look as engaging as like you want to explore like Arc Raiders. Like you play Arc Raiders, I know it's a different type of game, but it that world is like, something went down over here. Like there's alarms that would trigger that kind of there's a lot more tension.
When you got on top of a structure, right? Especially if you're over in Spaceport and you get up there and you see as far as where you see you can, I'm not saying the distance, but where you see something going on, you can go to. That doesn't really happen as much in Marathon. I do think that Crow kind of nails it here. Sly Crow, he says, there's little onboarding and tutorial for Marathon. They expect people to get good from the jump, and also the items took a while to learn. That's what I meant by you have... Listen, they gave you 3 paragraphs when you were picking up a heal, and it didn't even look like a heal. And then you're like, what do I do with this biomass? Which you could do for 2 things. You can trade it in for credit, or you could sell it for credit, or you could sell it for a barter system that goes towards buying heals. You have to learn, and there's a ton of this shit all over the place.
Yeah.
I do think the onboarding, it could have used a little more, or they could have dumbed it down.
The inventory management is horrible on Marathon. That's one thing.
The inventory management. And also,
and what the other thing too is I liked with the way Arc Raiders, how they made the underground look like a city, and you go to different people and kind of do your thing. Like it was funny because it reminded me of Destiny, like how but you don't run around. Whereas Marathon really just has more of a menu system, and just kind of go like you don't have that kind of little town on the ground. Like it was definitely a good visual for like you're bringing your stuff on the ground. You're going to go visit the person that's going to help you craft. You're going to sell things to this person. You have your own little room where you could build stuff and things like that. So like Arc Raiders definitely had some progression with it, where I think Marathon, the menus and stuff like that were definitely not very favorable. So like it did, and what's crazy is that Bungie's kind of good at that stuff. Like, and the fact that, inventory management is all over the place, and the lore is being shared via like reading stuff. Like who's reading when you're trying to survive?
That's the thing. There's a lot of reading going on. The other thing too that's a real mess there is when you're looting in Arc Raiders, okay, and you're going into whether it be a locker or it's a dead raider that you're looting. When I go and approach that, like BRAP can't go into the bag. In Marathon, your team, everybody can just go into each other's bags and moving fast, and it's just kind of like that. Again, you're reading a lot of stuff, you're looting a lot of stuff, and this is all happening in real time while you can die out in the real world there. And you're like, oh my god, this, it's just so you're moving so quick, and there's a little bit of turmoil between teammates because you're like, oh my god, I thought this was my bag. Oh no, I was right next to it. I didn't know. It's like they did that wrong too. You know what I mean? Just like you can share a bag or loot.
And also too, the environment of Marathon is not as threatening as Arc Raiders. And I know they're 2 different games, but like Arc Raiders environment, you don't want to go around shooting, and it opened to more of like, hey, I'll help you. Let's get through this because the environment is so crazy. Let's work together,
right?
And get through here. Where in Marathon, and also could be because of the first person shooter, you're gonna shoot first, talk later. You're gonna see things and start shooting them. Also, the enemies looks very similar to the PvP. Like it's so because of the aesthetic. It's like, are those people? Are those bots? Like you just shoot. Because your first person shoot, you just like shoot first. I'm not.
But the thing is, you can't avoid the AI. The AI will hunt you down in Marathon.
Yes,
if they see you at I was seeing a building over. They went down the stairs in that building, across the way, and in my building. Like they They do that.
Yeah,
you know,
and they
where
do drop ships, they just show up in the blue. So
and
they're
the
not,
other
like, patrolling.
The other problem
They're
is
just, like,
if I end up getting 2 Venators, right, and I want to drop one for you, Jez, I can give you a gun. I can give you both my guns, right?
Mhm.
You can't do that in Marathon. I can let you use a gun in Marathon, but then if we both exfil or extract, however you want to call it, the game gives me back the gun I let you use. You can't keep my gun.
So I can only use it during that time I'm around.
You can use it during that match. If we both
There's no
win,
loot sharing.
if we both win, I get my gun back that I let you borrow that I dropped for you.
Yeah.
But if you die, well, I lose it. It's gone.
Oh.
It's gone. And that's another weird thing. Like that's another thing where shout out to Blaze. Blaze was saying this to me. He's like, that's typical Bungie, right? Like Bungie's like, no, you're gonna play the game with our rules. The thing is, I think if you earn a gun, and they already have a countdown system. I can't remember what they call it in Marathon. Crow, you know what it is. After owning it, like after the gun is passed like 4 times, the gun is just sold for credits and you lose the gun after it's passed, right? So they already have that system.
Like that.
If that's already built in, then why can't I just like the gun's going to deteriorate and run away anyway? It's going to disappear anyway. Why can't I let you use it and keep it?
And that's a cheap way of you not hoarding your loot. Like it's going to go.
It's
like,
because Bungie wants you to keep going back in and keep playing.
That's like that card mechanism, dude. Like that's like what they do with those cards, the Madden and stuff, where like you only use them like 4 or 5 times and you lose a card, or you could buy bonuses to extend them.
Yes. Now they're doing a couple of life changes in the game. I'm pretty excited about 1.0. I don't know if it's 1.0.6. I think it's coming out. So I've always enjoyed when I'm playing in our group of 3. I'm usually the recon, and recon was such the abilities were just so weak from the get go. Now they're buffing that a bit. So I'm excited to see what they do there. They're doing a couple other quality of life things. I'm keeping it in my rotation. Is it my go-to everyday number 1? But I like having Black Ops Royale, Ark, and Marathon in my rotation. It keeps my multiplayer games fresh. And there's no other multiplayer really coming out this year unless Gears does a multiplayer, right?
Yeah,
so
and Battlefield, dude, I don't know what they did to Battlefield. They stopped updating it. Or they stopped.
Battlefield's done. And the reason,
I know there's a
the problem with Battlefield is the same problem that even Call of Duty has multiplayer, right? Because people are tired of playing just team deathmatch or domination.
Well, capture the points.
Capture the points. You know, or
it's like a destruction.
It's just like we've been doing that for such a long time. That's why you see people playing Ark. You see people moving over playing. Some people are playing Marathon. It's not a large, but like multiplayer Call of Duty doesn't get a huge number of people watching it. You know what I mean? So I'm going more by Twitch numbers here, which is not a real good measurement tool. But I'm just saying. So I mean, Deathsinger, what's your take on Marathon? Has anything changed at all for you on that, or no? You in the Discord are still very much not in tune with that at all.
Nah, I'm just not into Marathon. It's like
you're not going to go back and revisit it.
No, it's kind of dead for me. I got other things to play.
What's your multiplayer go to right now then?
My multiplayer go to is World of Tanks, League of Legends. That kind of thing. Because I personally like Age of Empires, I guess. Because it's just stuff that interests me. Because Battlefield was great, but it's kind of like, not so much. And
they seem to drop it, right? Like I don't know what they're doing, like with the updates and stuff. Like
I don't know. I'm just not really into it, and I don't trust Bungie. I'm gonna be completely 100 with you. After a veteran of Destiny 1 and 2. I have a hard time trusting Bungie, and many people feel that way. Because
Deathsinger, you and a lot of people say that, so I agree with you. But I will say this much though: the minute Destiny 3 comes out, guess who's going to be there? You.
That is, that's true.
You know what I mean? Like, and I don't mean that in any kind of bad way at all, by the way. But I mean, like, everyone's like, I don't trust them. I don't like them. Hey, Destiny 3's out. When? When can we meet up?
Yeah, it's a love-hate relationship with Bungie.
No, I hear that. Yeah. I hear that. I just thought it was interesting. And Jez, I know you gave it a shot, right? How long?
Yeah, I did.
Is it something you'll go back to, or you're like, no, I'm just gonna stick with Ark?
Nah. I thought I was gonna have like a multiplayer, like first-person shooter into it, and it did. Like after like I got people explaining it to me and playing it, I kind of got the feel of it, but I didn't. Yeah, I didn't like also too, like I felt the loot wasn't as like you could lose it, but then you go there, you kill one person, and then they got so much stuff, and it's just like I didn't feel. I went back and actually saw. I was playing Arc Raiders and just was like, I was much more impressed with that one. I like that you have a save slot where you could take a valuable one.
Yeah.
To kinda,
I guarantee. I think they're going to give us a save slot eventually on Marathon.
Yeah,
the thing about Marathon, but see, Jez, the one thing about Marathon that I thought I liked a little bit more was when I got really good guns in Arc, like I was hoarding them. You know what I mean? Like I was where in Marathon, I've taken good guns out, lost them. And then randomly taken out a free. I shouldn't use free because that's too random. Taking out a decent loadout and then end up scoring insane guns off of somebody you beat. I just felt but I like that because it encouraged me to use better guns, better shields because I feel like I can get them more. I felt like in Arc they were more scarce, so I was hoarding those guns.
Yeah, because they probably want you to craft them, right? They want you to craft upgrades and stuff for them.
Well, right, that's the thing. So here I am. I have 240 hours in Arc right now, and I legitimately am still making like kettle level 4s, or you know what I mean, just to go out for random ones when I have a ton of good weapons. And I don't use them.
It's different type, like because Arc is definitely more of like you're gonna get stuff and you build and craft. Where it seems Marathon's much more straightforward, where the loot is kind of like it's almost like Borderlands-esque, and the loot drops and getting like a better gun, a purple gun, or this kind of gun where it's already has the upgrades. And you could do things to it, but like it's already there. Like you don't have to build, like get scraps and then try to build something from it. Marathon doesn't have a lot of that crafting stuff. It's more of like you see what you get,
right?
You drop.
Right.
Which yes, that's why I said they're different games. Mm-hmm. I just feel that the Marathon stuff, for Bungie, I just want them to make a friggin' PvE, not PvP, PvP, 8-on-8 multiplayer vehicles. Mm-hmm. Let's with the shooting. Come on, let's go. Just do Halo multiplayer. Do something.
That's right.
Just do PvP. Mm-hmm. 8-on-8 with something with a story. I just want traditional Bungie to make like what they did with Halo. Like do something else. Like enough of this service stuff. Even Destiny, like I never really gravitated to Destiny. I tried it so many times. I like the campaign. It reminded me so much of a Halo campaign of Destiny 2.
Yeah.
I did I did a raid. I think I did it with I forgot who it was. It was like I forgot his name. I forgot his name. But yeah, we did a raid one night and it was like the most amazing multiplayer experience. It was incredible. Like you had like 8 people. We're yelling at each other, standing on pads, and you stand over there. We're gonna shoot this. And it was incredible. Oh, Fame 2K. Shout out to Fame 2K and I think Dallas. We had that night. I just got my Destiny 2 PlayStation and we did a raid. Yeah, it was the most amazing. Like I was like this, but it never happened again. It was just it was like one of those memorable multiplayer nights that I always remember because it was just fun. But I never got into the grind. Like I just could not, and even though I'm the grindhouse, I could not just get into just shooting the same enemies on the same planets. I bought Mars. I fought on Mars, and they said go back to Earth, and I'm like, but this is the Mars DLC.
Like I don't want to go back to Earth.
Yeah,
you're like, I don't want to go back to Earth.
Yeah, so I just couldn't. I just could not. The gameplay is great, but I could not stand just shooting the same enemies and just hordes of enemies.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
well, I got news for you. Get your rust now, Jess, because Destiny, I guarantee you a Destiny 3 is somewhere in the future. I don't think it's that far. I don't think it's that far out. I'll play the campaign. I'll see you guys.
I'll play. Give me some co-op campaign and I'm good. And PvP. And just give me a real multiplayer, not that Destiny.
Well, no, that's a lot of wants right there, Jess. We'll see what happens. Maybe you'll get 2 out of 3.
I just want Bungie to be Bungie, man, but who knows?
We'll see.
They got such good gameplay.
They do. No, listen, that's the thing that keeps me going. That's what keeps me going back to Marathon. It is phenomenal. It's a lot of fun. I do like it. Like I said, I'm not going to sit here and say I love it, but I do like it, and I will keep it in the rotation.
Yeah.
You know, because I think they're going to keep supporting it. I think it'll be there for quite some time. Eternity, no, long enough. Hey, even if it gets to the end of this generation, not bad for me.
It's holding the numbers, Mooch. Like it is holding numbers. It's not holding. Like it's not a high guard. High guard.
No, it's not high guard, but it's also not. No. It doesn't have the 120,000 that Arc has either. So it's not Arc. No. And I always say that people are like, well, it's not doing what Arc does. I'm like, it's not Arc. I mean, it's just not. But yeah, I stay tuned. We'll see if they keep making those quality of life improvements to the game, listening to the community. So far, they have been. Every update has been listening to the community. So give them credit. That's very not what they did with Destiny. They are listening now because they know if they don't listen, they're gone. It's a lot different than it was back in the day. So we'll see what they do. I just was curious about the the marathon hate that's out there, but you guys answered it for me, and I appreciate it.
I'd say the Crimson Desert hate. I can't understand that either. I don't understand that because the game was.
The Crimson hate that I'm seeing is more. I'm seeing the more Crimson hate from the critic side. Everybody I know that's playing it loves it.
Oh, the game's freaking awesome.
Yeah, so I'm not seeing it from the player side as much. I'm seeing that more from the critic side, which is why it was sitting at the 78.
And they've been good with updates too, man. They've been pumping out those updates.
Oh my god, quick. 78, something around 78 or 80 fixes in one of the last updates. That's insane. Crazy.
They added so many things within a week. Like it was just like boom, boom, boom. They heard it and they tweaked it like right on. Like it was crazy, almost like a service game. And believe it or not, like how quick they responded.
Yep. No, yeah, sorry, D487. I see. Yes, Crow's right. I'm talking about when you're lending gear to teammates. That gets returned to you. No, not when you're exfilling a gun. You can, as long as you have it, you can hold that gun. It's when it passes back and forth, you have like 4 times with it, and then it turns into credits. That's completely different than when you let your friend use it and then you get it back after the match. But I will say this: it's 10:30. We've gone 3 hours and 15 minutes. I want to say thanks to Jez for joining us here and joining last minute. It's great to have him and his takes. A lot of news that's hitting this week. Can't thank him enough. The great Death Singer as well. Man. Listen, Jez, I got to say, buddy, saw you in there and you were very vibrant and you were typing like crazy. I go, you know what?
Yeah, man.
I think Jez has got something to say tonight. So I said, Jez, if you could join... jump in. Shout out also to the great WoolleyGamer who was in the chat. He was I told him in a week or two we'll get Woolley back on here as well. But Jez, let people know where they can find you. Thank you for joining us tonight. Honestly, really brought a lot of energy, a lot of great opinions to the show, and I loved it. Let people know where they can find you. And listen, after he tells you where you can find him, he's on every night. I don't know how he does it. Every single night I go to bed, I turn on YouTube and there it is. The Grindhouse is live. I'm like, how does he do this? Jez, it's amazing. Keep up the good work, buddy. But please do let people know where they can find you. And thanks for joining us.
Hey, thank you so much. Yep, you can find me over at the Gaming Grindhouse on Monday nights at 8 p.m. And also, like Mooch says, I do a Gaming Grinds where I stream. I've been streaming Crimson Desert and kind of like podcast while I play. And then, I got awesome custom music that I make there and just have some fun, a lot of memes, a lot of jokes, and just gamer entertainment. And check me out over there at the Gaming Grindhouse. But thanks again. Hit that like button and happy Easter to everybody.
That's right. Happy Easter, everybody. That's right. Great holiday weekend coming up for those that celebrate it. It's a lot of fun. Yep. Jez, thank you so much. The great Death Singer, everybody. Death Singer, thanks for being here, buddy. Honestly, the show was phenomenal. We had like people popping in and out tonight. I love shows like this. I think a podcast and having people pop in and out, it's like a real radio show. You know what I mean? It's as close as you're going to get to it on YouTube. But Death Singer, thanks for being here as always, buddy. Great takes. I always love them. It doesn't matter if I agree with them. I still love them. Death Singer, let people know where they can find you. And thanks again, buddy.
Hey, no problem. Yeah, it was a great show. Good show. Shout out to everyone coming through. Even all my fans in the chat. And shout out, it's been a while since I chatted to J-Main and PlayStation's Gaming Ledger.
Yeah, shout out
and
Jamie,
of course,
man.
we had BRAP and Jez. Of course. Jez always been on the show. It's going to be an active time.
Absolutely.
It's just going to be a fun time. But
it's always fun, that thing, man.
It's always great. It's always great being here. And, my takes will always be my takes, and I'll stay true to that. So you either take it or leave it.
We're going to take it, Death Singer. How about that? We're going to take it, buddy. It's fantastic, baby. Can't wait. I cannot wait until Death Singer is appearing daily on my PS5 friends list. It's going to be fantastic.
When that seat, now we need to have an emergency podcast after they've done the announcement of the specs of what they're doing.
That's fair.
And then I'll announce to the world, am I either going to buy one or not one? Because if they go 30 FPS, you already know the answer.
I'm expecting after that we announce the podcast, people to either take vacation from work or do whatever. Just drop what they're doing. They need to know what's going on in Death Singer's world. I love it. Death Singer, great.
Dude, somebody made Nacho Libre in WWE 2K26. It's on, baby.
They did. Of course they did. Of course they did. Shout out to Mary Wilcox. Thank you so much. I'm glad you're feeling better. Great to have you back with us in the chat. Guys, have a great Easter. I do want to give a quick shout out to the great J-Main518. Go over, follow him over on X. He's fantastic. Love his takes. I was just talking to him a little bit after he had to leave a little bit earlier, and he says, Mooch, listen, we'll do something. We'll get back back on the show. Love having Jay Main here. It is so much fun to have him on. Creative Kofi couldn't make it tonight, but we will get Kofi on one of these Thursdays. He wrote me. He said every first Thursday of every month is when he was going to try to be here, but he did say his schedule is getting rougher and rougher to podcast. So we'll get Kofi back on here. Shout out to BRAP, who had to leave. That's Basement Radio Arcade Podcast, otherwise known as Coach. He will be here when he can make it, and he's not coaching all the kids. So God bless BRAP. And then Nib, who probably fell asleep, or he's so far into Crimson Desert he couldn't put the controller down to talk. But hopefully Nib's back with us next week. Shout out to him. And the great Gaming Ledger, who's first time on Crossfire. Great to have Ledger with us. Ledger, thanks for joining us, buddy. Go over and follow him. It's The Gaming Ledger over on X. Guys, fantastic show. We will see you guys next Thursday. I'm going to be over on Twitch on Saturday from 11 to 3 or 4 Eastern time. That's Mooch TV, M00CHTV. Go over and follow me. It shows up in lights. Hit the like button on the way out. Go play some games, guys. We'll see you next Thursday. Peace out. Good night.